All right, listen, I've got 5:32, call the meeting to order. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda that may be amended, and before we, there's both sides, so, okay, and I think a lot of this stuff will be, so when you're looking at it, there's two sides to the agenda, okay? So can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I've got 5:33 PM. Can I get a motion to go into executive session for legal personnel contracts?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We already opened up the meeting. We called it to order. We approved the agenda, made no changes. And then we went into executive session. And so now we are opening up the regular meeting. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes of July 31st, 2026?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
And you were not here, so you're gonna have to stay out of
I'll
this
second.
stuff, okay?
Okay.
All right?
I wasn't here either,
Yeah,
that's
so-
why
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I'll
yeah, so-
second.
Yeah.
Okay, second it. Any changes that you see?
yeah,
guys?
minor change, take my name off of the present,
Okay, so we
because I
will.
wasn't here then.
All right. It's probably just an automatic.
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
I understand.
So, we're good for that there.
And the same held true for the August 6th, the following meeting too.
Jim, can you click on like your name up there just to see?
Killington host.
Yeah, because it seems like it's only looking at you, it's not showing like the group. I just don't know if that changes it or not.
No?
As much as I like looking at Jim, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm working on that, Michael, I just don't want to lose everybody in the process here.
How about down in video?
I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna pull this out. And I'm gonna,
Last week, there was a button that was.
that's better, right? Okay.
Is that better?
But you see more than just me, Michael? You know, this is what we're gonna have to deal with.
Let's go in, I'll do my thing.
Okay. So, all in favor of the minutes of July 31st, John and Vito and myself, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of August 6th. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second? John?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve the minutes of August 10th, 2026, and I believe, Bill, you
I was at the August 10th meeting.
were at the August 10th meeting, so can I get a motion to approve the August 10th meeting?
So moved. Oh, second.
Okay, I got Vito, I got Bill's motion and Vito seconding. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Rob, community bank loan?
Yeah.
So, Rob has been talking with Community Bank and myself, and,
John.
and John also. Somebody is speaking, and, so, I know in the past, we said it was kind of hard that the bank was not going to be working with us for a loan. We've had discussions, there was a $6.3 million note that had to be paid off first for us to go forward with a current expense note or a tax anticipation note. Since the budget passed on August 11th, the bank now has said that they will give us a tax anticipation note. The total dollar of the tax anticipation note is $3,477,538. How they came up with that, they did a cash flow statement, and they came up with that dollar amount, and that is gonna get us through to November, when we start getting in our funds for the municipal side. So, first I need the board to approve Select Board Resolution and Certificate. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution and certificate?
So moved.
Second.
And there's no discussion on this, okay? So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion for the tax anticipation note to be signed?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's a tax certificate to support the tax exemption of interest paid on the TAN and of IRS Form 838-G for the TAN. Can I get a motion to allow the select board to move forward and the town clerk, the town treasurer to move forward to sign.
So moved.
Second, John?
Second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We'll go through this and start signing, but this is a big step going forward, because now, the loan will be funded to us on September 2nd. So we will have 3.477538 put into our general fund to start funding some other payments and going forward on that.
It's 4.25% for 1
And it's at
year.
4.25% for 1 year. So, 4.25% for 1 year. And, while just so you know, like, when I was at the school board, every year the school board would borrow a tax anticipation note, okay? Every year they would do it. So, we'll get to work on this going forward. Next up is listers, errors and admissions. And I believe the listers are here.
Yes, we are here.
You're up.
We've,
Say that again?
You can't.
Michael Snade, can you hear us? I think when you did something there, it just, now it's, Michael Snade, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Jim.
Okay.
But when Marissa was speaking, it reverberated.
Well, that's kind of hard, because Marissa's not here.
I think it was maybe
Oh,
Kim.
that was Kim on, so.
That might have been Kim.
Kim, you might have a problem with your,
Microphone.
microphone or something, because you're the only one that's echoing. So let the listers go ahead on the errors and admissions.
so, we presented you with our analysis of the remainder of the Great Gulf properties. And in going over it after our last meeting with Michael Sneed and his attorney, we realized that there were still a couple of mistakes that needed to be corrected, and so that's what we've done. In reviewing it, if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to go over it with you.
Well, this is on the listers, and you worked it out with, and it's like, we don't sit there with every single person that comes in to grieve an error or an error on it. So it's coming out to be that the total property in 2022 was some $12.5 million, and with the reappraisal, it's some $59,360,000
Correct,
for the total.
for the total.
And in the TIF district, it is $51,657,200 worth of an increase from 2022,
Yes.
which I'm just making that stick out because that brings it to 51 million. It goes up to 51 million minus the 12 is around $39 million worth of increment increase, which the town is going to be putting into a separate TIF account, holding funds for income coming in for some $395,000 to $400,000. Okay, and our first payment on the water line next year is $320,000 for 40 years at 0%. So that water line that is going in is covered with just this reappraisal, plus some $60,000 or $70,000 more going toward the road. And I'm saying this because I just want people to understand, there's a lot of folks that are worried about the bond and when it's gonna get paid. There's enough money to pay this first stage, or the complete stage of the water. Now we're working on the road. Anyway, back to this, can I get a motion to accept the listers, errors, and admissions presented to us tonight?
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion from anyone here? I mean, it's just,
Logical.
unless you want to go through the numbers and sit down with Michael Snade and the listers and their lawyer, and, that's not our job. Our job here is to take what they've come up with and done this. So, do I have any yeah, I know, but he's gonna have to wait, Steve, we see your hand. You're gonna have
The
to wait.
mics aren't working, Jim. It's only the laptop mic is working. We're barely hearing anybody else.
Hold on one second, Ron. That's probably
Room
the
bar.
issue. No, there we go. We gotta get into the bar. So,
There you go.
Is it any better?
Much better. Now we see all of you.
Can you hear me now?
we weren't in the bar room for the mic and the camera. It says room bar. That's what we have to be in.
Yep, Michael says it's good.
Yeah. Anyway, so just to go back through, the listers have gone through with the lawyer for Great Gulf and with Great Gulf. They've come through saying that the value of the property for Great Gulf has increased from $12,500,000 to some $57 million, okay? For some reason, there was some double billing going on that happens when you transfer from one software program to another software, Nimerick to Vision. And it double billed about 25 million, but they all now say they are good with these numbers.
Yep.
What I did say is that this increment increase in the TIF district is around $39 million, which is going to put over $390,000 into our TIF increment fund for payments on bonds. And the water bond, starting next year, I think October or November is the first note, 40 years at 0%, will be paid with these funds, and it's only around 320 to $330,000. So there's plenty of money to pay. So anybody that's worried about there are bond notes coming for this TIF project, and the town is on the hook for it all, the increment is there to cover it. The next job is the $25 million road job up from the hotel down to the lookout with the roundabout and everything else. And Michael Snade is online, and he wants that road built. We're moving forward this winter, I believe, to put it out to bid once we get through some Pepsi stuff. And he understands, Great Gulf understands that starting next year, they may have to start kicking in some of their own money for the payment of that bond. Is that correct, Michael Snade?
That's correct, Jim.
All right, thank you. So all in favor, Steve Finer? Go- I guess he just,
My question was answered when you guys, we can see the board. I couldn't hear the listers.
sorry, I wasn't in the room bar. So for microphone or for, that's what it's called, room bar, audio and whatever. So thank you. All in favor of approving the listers, errors and admissions? Say aye.
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 Thank you.
Easement, Killington Road,
Sign that? Do we have a copy to sign?
of what?
Errors and omissions?
We'll sign it all at the, okay. So easement, Killington Road from the lookout to the substation for line striping and plowing this winter. So the town went into an easement agreement with the resort in Great Gulf for the whole road, but the only part that is actually the road that we're gonna keep at this point is from the lookout to the first substation on the right-hand side, which is, if you're driving up the Killington Road right now, you'll see yellow line striping in the middle, and then it stops. And then it starts about 700 feet, John, up further?
Yep.
Because that's the resort's doing that. We need to stripe that section of the road. And we need to plow that section of the road this winter. And Chad knows it, is in agreement with it. Chad and a manager met with Jeff Temple and Ethan Phelps from the resort a few months ago. It was brought up, and what I'm told is that our manager said it's not in our budget. It doesn't matter. It's our road. We have to take care of it. It's in the budget, and Rob will take care of it moving forward with Chad. So, this is not even a vote. This is just, Rob, you need to take care of it, and the line striping, if you need help, that if L&D can't get back, we got the guy with the golf cart that can come back, and it's probably cheaper for him because it's only, for us, because it's only 700 feet.
Great.
Instead of bringing in. And I'll give you his number, we have in an invoice or whatever.
Perfect.
All right, Board of Liquor Control, Peggy.
Okay, the first thing I just want you to be aware of is a library malt beverage serving permit for the KPAA for their annual meeting behind the library. Okay. Okay, the next thing. Killington Restaurants, they're renewing their third class. It's for the Northbrook Lodge Jerk Mountain Grill, as well as a renewal of their third class liquor for Bear Mountain Base Lodge.
So a third and an outside consumption?
No, I skipped one because that's a new one. So
Okay.
there's two third classes for
Okay.
Killington Restaurants. They're in the green.
Yep.
Right,
Okay. The Jerk Mountain Grill and the Bear Mountain Base Lodge.
Can I get a motion for the town clerk to move forward with Killington Restaurants, Inc. for those two third classes?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
There's no questioning here. If we don't do it, then the state's going to do it anyway. It's just something that goes back to the early 1900s. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Go ahead, Peg.
Okay, so that other one in the orange, that's the outside consumption limited permit. That's for the Killington Brew Fest at Pico.
Can I get a motion for the town clerk to move forward with the Killington Restaurants for the outside consumption at Pico?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, on to North Star Hospitality. They're renewing their third class, and they are back again to obtain their second class.
Can I get a motion to allow the town clerk to move forward with North Star Hospitality for a third and a second class?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I went over on the second class one, they already have a convenience store in there, so it's only for the customers in there. There is no signs going up there, and this is what a lot of hotels have. They have a second-class license, with just the folks staying there, okay? So they came in and they didn't have the permit for that convenience store, but I am processing it tomorrow as the zoning administrator. So
Okay.
they can go ahead. Can I get a motion for the, all in favor for North Star Hospitality?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the Rollin' Rooster, it's the Cluckin' on the Mountain in Mountain Green Resort. It's a renewal of their first and their third, and she's looking to reopen the same thing, a second class at, in Mountain Green. The previous, people who were in there had the same thing.
Yeah. So can I get a motion for the town clerk to move forward for the Rolling Rooster, first-class restaurant bar, second-class license, and third-class restaurant and bar license?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that's it.
Thank you, Peggy.
You're welcome.
Talent agent designation. I think you might be able to help with this, Peggy.
So I was having a problem with these tax appeal hearings. I'm supposed to send copies to the town agent, but the town doesn't have a town agent. So I talked to Kevin, I keep
Kevin
calling him.
Brown.
Kevin Brown.
I keep calling him Kevin Bacon. Kevin Brown. And he said to go before the select board and to designate possibly the town manager to accept this paperwork.
Okay, so can I get a motion to designate the interim town manager to be the town agent?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Interim town manager report.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Great to be here with the Select Board and the members of the community, both in person and online. I'd like to send out a very special shout-out to our newest member of the Select Board, Celia Clancy, who's joining us tonight. Celia, we look forward to your engaged participation, thoughtful perspective, and the knowledge and insight you'll bring to help the community continue to move forward.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. So tonight, I want to provide an update of what has occurred from my perspective with the key areas that the board has asked me to focus on over the last 5 weeks. And I've remained focused on some very key priorities: stabilizing financial operations, advancing our major infrastructure work, and consistent communications. The community's recent approval of the FY27 municipal budget provides an important foundation for our work. The approved budget is a clear operating path, and while our immediate efforts remain centered on cash flow management, financial controls, and continuity of essential services, I think we're on the right path. I do want to share that there will be some challenges and issues that I'm going to share tonight that we've mutually discovered. And to be fully transparent, this is about accountability. This is not about personalities. Since I began on the 21st of July, I've worked closely with the Select Board, the employees, the external subject matter experts, some refer to them as SMEs, our support partners, and VEPSI. I regret to say this, but it's irrefutable. There's tremendous evidence that we've sustained a breakdown in financial administration and governance over the past 12, maybe as much as 15 months. And this included untimely FEMA reimbursement activity, some grant deficiency, and a lot of other things that have occurred, and I'll share more specifically as we go in some of these key areas. But I do want to start with the forensic audit that is being done by Barry Dunn. And the whole purpose of it is, when we kicked off, and Vito, in fact, you and Jim were there with myself, it's an important step forward for transparency, accountability, and improved financial practices that the community voted on last year, or actually this year. The purpose is not to simply look back. It's to provide the Select Board, the public, and the community with a clear, objective understanding of the town's financial records, practices for the review period, identify any opportunities to strengthen controls, and establish recommendations that will serve Killington well and into the future. The town voters wanted this, and we've got it. Barry Dunn, just to give you a perspective, has been in business for 52 years, and one of the leaders in this area. And the group we're working with is referred to as their Governance Assurance Practice Group. Bunch of very interesting individuals. It's an opportunity that we're going to clarify the record of everything that's been said in town, because the sky is not falling. We're going to strengthen public confidence, and it'll put durable financial management practices in place. Now, it's going to start with very practical accounting and payroll assessment. It'll help us better understand our current financial position, improve fund and project tracking. It'll strengthen payroll and leave administration, and establish, very importantly, repeatable tools and processes for ongoing financial management. And there'll be more to follow on that. R.H. Smith, Town Auditor. After 15 years of having this organization as our ongoing auditor, on August 4th this year, when we reached out to them as part of preparation for a very important VEPSI, that's the state of Vermont, hearing that Jim as the chair, John as vice chair, and myself as interim town manager, we have a pretty important meeting there on Monday, August 31st. And we were very surprised to discover the town had not renewed our ongoing agreement with R.H. Smith. I learned that back in March/April of this year, Ron Smith had reached out twice to us to schedule time to come in and meet with the select board, but he never received a reply. Then on April 3rd, our, at the time, finance director told R.H. Smith's director of operations, Amity Denton, well, there was a cost increase in your RFP that you wanted us to sign, and I think we're going to pause. In fact, it's been a while since we had a RFP out for a potential new supplier to bid on. Now, the challenge is that the additional expenses were for things that we were going to have to do regardless of who the auditor was. So at that point in time, R.H. Smith was told, we're going to hold off on signing anything for fiscal '26 at this time. We'll make sure to send you the RFP as well when we post it when the time comes. But they never received the RFP from us. Yeah, I know, Bill. I saw that look, the squint, right?
Did it even get written?
Well, here's the interesting thing. The select board was never advised, is what I'm told. And eventually, on May 7th, on the town website, an RFP for an auditor was posted. And it was due back to the finance director by June 4th.
12.
I had June 4th, but that's okay. If I'm wrong, I'll stand corrected. But the town never had an auditor actually awarded, because if you remember, the finance director left in very early June. And obviously, that's a pretty big, I'm going to call it a swing and a miss. We're still in the baseball season, right? Now, VEPSI, who we've got this power meeting with, or should I call it maybe a power beating? I don't know, but. Grilling, how's that? VEPSI's executive director, Jessica Smith Hartleben, wrote to Select Chair Half Friday night, the 21st, in response to her request to supply us with certain information by this Wednesday, August 26th. And she said in her note, and I quote, "I appreciate the town's candor regarding the circumstances that led to the delay that you guys have had in providing us information, including the discovery that the town went without a retained municipal auditor for a period without select board's knowledge, and that's a serious control matter. And I understand the board is addressing it, but I do want to make a point. That's an internal governance issue for the town to resolve. It does not change the town's obligation as administrator of the TIF district or extend the deadlines that the council has set for the town of Killington. And the council's TIF monitoring findings predate this new staffing issue that you referred to. And the town's obligation to produce accurate documented reporting exists independent of who is or was in the room when the decisions were made. So luckily, we were able to get a contract into R.H. Smith, and today, in fact, they confirmed that they are our auditor, and very importantly, because they're going to help us with a lot of the preparation that's needed for this VEPSI meeting. I just want to touch on the community bank situation, because Jim brought it up earlier tonight. But to me, this was, one of the key priorities for us as a town. I remember hearing back in the spring comments at these meetings that Community Bank had lost confidence in the town's financial situation, and it would be very difficult to gain additional financing. But I will tell you that Select Board Chair, Vice Chair, and myself have been taking responsible action to manage near-term cash flow and meet operating obligations while tax revenues are being collected. We met with the bank on July 31st, and we met with a team of 3, which included this gentleman by the name of Bruce Berner, who is their regional commercial executive for the state of Vermont, as well as their governmental relationships manager, Hayden Jones. In fact, we've had 3 meetings with them, and Hayden even wrote us back after the first meeting that we look forward to continuing a fruitful partnership. So I just want to underscore, when people say things are going to be difficult or things are going to be impossible, impossible really only describes the degree of difficulty. It doesn't mean that it's insurmountable. And I just wish we had on film the meeting that these 2 fellas on both sides of me were at, because it was almost poetry in motion, and it was a tough meeting. So we did pay down, as I think Jim mentioned a little bit earlier tonight, a note. We closed out a $519,000 contract for contract 1 through 3A on August 5th. We paid almost $4.5 million toward the overall $5 to $8 million that we had outstanding. Then on the 14th of this month, which was only really about a week ago, we paid off another $1.3 million of maturing debt. So by paying down approximately $6.3 million, that now moves us into still owning $2.4 million in expenses by November 15th to be collected, but it's going to get collected from tax revenue that will be coming in as we go into November.
We have located $2 million worth of FEMA funds. The note that Rob is talking about of $2.4 million due on November 15th. We have so far, we haven't, but WSP has identified close to $2 million, which we believe, or they are telling us, once they file all the paperwork, which may be by the end of next week, for that $2 million, it should take 2 weeks up in Vermont Emergency Management System, and then when they send it off, it's 4 to 6 weeks. I'm only really emphasizing that because when the gentleman spoke, Rob thought he said 46 weeks. And he almost fell off his chair and took me out also. It's 4 to 6, so within 3 months, we expect, which will put us still a little bit past the November 15th, but things are working forward. I also want to say that, I know some people are questioning because we've had a conversation with our auditor, Ron Smith, and he's looked into the statutes or whatever. Yes, we probably use some of the education fund money that has come in to pay that $1.3 million, okay? But per statute, you have 30 days to turn it over to the education. So we expect to have this 3.4 in, but there is also a 1.4 to 1.5 million reimbursement for contract 4 that is due any day now since 2 weeks ago. So hopefully this week we see that 1.4, 1.5, so we can replace the 1.3 that we took from the general fund back into. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you,
Thanks for clarifying that, Jim. And
it's a lot of numbers.
there are a lot of numbers, but there's also a lot of good news. This week, we received an invoice from Wilmington Trust for about $305,000 for a loan via the Vermont State Revolving Fund, which they said was to be paid this September 4th of '26. This came at a time, obviously, when our cash flow remains challenged. I went to the board and the community to determine, what might we be able to do, and I have to share with you, if it wasn't for Chairman Half's strong institutional knowledge, we would be in a bit of hurt right now. Jim quickly contacted the Dufresne's group, Naomi Johnson, confirmed could this be accurate, this loan for $305,000? And through it all, he even contacted this Elizabeth King, who was Director of Finance for the Vermont Bond Bank. Lucky for the town, Jim determined that the work had not been substantially completed, and therefore the $305,000 loan repayment is not due this September 4th. Rather, it will not be due until next year in October or November. So special shout out to Jim for his and all his
And
hard
that
work.
money will be the retaining funds from the TIF district, so.
Good.
It looked like a scam. It was like one of the worst, you saw it, right? It was just like a piece of paper that just said Williamson Trust or whatever, and it was like, it looked like a scam, like we want September 4th, $305,000. I Googled the bond bank to see if this person, Elizabeth
King.
actually worked at the bond bank, and then took her email address from their website and sent her the letter. And she said, that's the loan for the 40 years at 0%. And then I got a hold of Naomi and said, you told me we wouldn't have to make that first payment until 1 year after substantial completion, which should be this October or November. So then I got Naomi involved in the email with Elizabeth Clark, and she said in the last email, don't pay it, we'll change the paperwork, and you'll pay next year, so. Thank you.
Quick update on the road structure. So, on Friday, Chad and his team finished construction on the culvert on River Road. And you know how heavy that rain was last night. Spoke with Chad today, and he said it held up incredibly well. There was no water flooding or anything like that.
I drove on it today, it was fine.
It was fine? Thank you, George. You know, the Killington Road, obviously no secret, remains our central economic corridor for the community. And the good news is, I heard today, it is very likely that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so that could be mid-September, Pike will begin construction, or reconstruction, resurfacing, I should say, on the road going up the hill. How's that, John? You like that? Going up, you gotta go up to go to the lifts. Southbound, but going up. They'll begin in about 2 to 3 weeks. And he was out there today with Mike Mullen, who's the head of Pike Paving. And they even reviewed on what John is calling the northbound, which to me is the down lane, right? On the right-hand side as you're driving down the road. There's some rough sections in there from Dean Hill Road over to about Schoolhouse Road. And he's getting another bid or two to determine, might we be able to do that all at once this year, so it would really clean up both lanes in a very important area. So stay tuned. The other good news is we found out that there was actually no money in the road crack filling budget, but we have enough in the bituminous, did I say that correctly? Bitness, forgive me, in the bitness resurfacing, and we're gonna bring 20K over so that we can get the cracks filled. We don't have anyone lined up with exact timing right this moment, but I would still settle for, let's get the main sections of the road resurfaced. Last area is, you know that from financial management, we're doing everything we can. It remains a very high priority. One of the key things that we've been doing to try to tighten up the budgeting and the operations financially is, we've set up now 3 individual accounts. Monica is very well aware of them. One is for Casella for sections 1 through 3A. One is for SUR Contract 4, and another is for FEMA for 2023, the project work on East Mountain Road. We also now are setting one up, which should be set up, I hope, by tomorrow with Community Bank, for the TIF incremental funds that'll be coming in. So thanks for your help. And obviously, the goal is not just to fill gaps, but to really come up with an ongoing, tighter financial flow so there's no surprises and we're in much better shape. Finally, just in closing, we got a lot of important work ahead, but we are moving forward and we're moving with urgency. Hopefully you feel transparency and a practical plan. We're addressing our financial obligations, advancing the forensic audit, working on rebuilding financing capabilities, the essential road work and infrastructure projects that we need. They're all steps for the immediate challenges, but they're also going to create stronger systems over time for us, and I think we'll have a very successful future. Together, if we collaborate, I truly believe we are going to prevail. So thanks for your support and your listening tonight. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Rob.
Can you go into, on the finance management support, the meeting we had today?
Oh, sure.
With Shasta from Cedar?
Yes.
And then also with Sarah Macy, who is the finance director in St. Albans?
Yes, exactly. So we met earlier today around 12:30 with Shasta from the Cedar Development Group in Rutland. And she is extremely financially oriented. She knows systems backwards and forward, and she is providing us, hopefully by tomorrow, a proposal to work with us to be able to help us better organize and streamline our processes to be able to capture the right types of grants, the reimbursements, et cetera. So that's number one. Number two.
For TIF.
For TIF, yes. Number two, we were with a brilliant lady. Her name is, don't tell me I know it. Give me a second, John.
Thanksgiving Day Parade?
Yeah. Sarah Macy, there you go, John, I love that. The Macy's Parade, we're gonna rock. Yeah, so Sarah is up in St. Albans, and she is an expert on, right, Nimerick, all right? She might have written the book on it. In fact, I think for enjoyment, she likes to get into Nimerick. She's that good at it. And while we asked, could you provide us some help, she said, hey, I'm really, really busy, but as a special favor, I will definitely send you, and she did today, just before we got here, a proposal to give us perhaps 15, 20 hours a week.
No,
And-
that's Shasta.
Oh, Shasta did, forgive me, damn it,
Shasta's at
sorry.
15 hours.
Okay,
She will help.
why don't you add to it, Jim? Go ahead.
So Sarah Macy, and I think the treasurer knows Sarah Macy, she's been in the town hall before to set up the accounts for the TIF. And I think the last time she was here about 2.5 years ago. She is the TIF person. She is running TIF for St. Albans, St. Albans is huge. It was the biggest TIF before us. She also teaches a class at UVM for municipal financing / NIMRIC systems through UVM. It's like a 6-month class, and it's once a week. If you ever want to see somebody get excited about Excel and NIMRIC, just have a conversation with her. She's amazing. She says it with a smile, and she goes through it. She is here to help on an hourly basis when needed to help anybody, such as the treasurer needs help, if the town manager needs help of coding or whatever, and also with Shasta to make sure with Ron to get our TIF books back in order. She is amazing, and she did send out a contract today to be reviewed by legal. And then Shasta will be sending out a contract tomorrow. Anything that is with TIF, like with Shasta, will be reimbursed through the TIF. And, I hate to bring up the Article 7 days, because, it was just like rehashing the last 2 years of our lives here, okay? But there's actually some good in that article, believe it or not. And one of the things is the gentleman that used to be the Burlington mayor. What was his? Miro. Yep. Okay. And he was asked a question about the TIF, and what he said was, TIFs are very hard to track. And the beauty of it is that you can go out and hire on outside service that knows what to do and get it done correctly. And he knows that from experience because we all could read about the Burlington TIF that went into some problems, and they actually had to pay back hundreds of thousands of dollars to the state education fund because even that city really couldn't handle it. They ended up going out, and a matter of fact, one of the first companies they hired on was Berry and Dunn to do their forensic audit on their TIF, okay? And then they hired on another company to be like the trust to send the checks out or whatever. We don't know if we have to go there yet. We're gonna work with it. But we're not in this, we're not alone in this. So, but that's where we're moving forward to. I totally believe, and Bill, you've had this conversation a lot of times, that's municipalities are used to some places are $1 million.
Right, yeah.
Some places are
A
8
little.
million, some are a little higher but, they're not used to all of this oversight from grants, federal grants, USDA coming in and everything. We're just not used to it. We need the right staff in, and if it means a combination of going outside and inside, then that's where we're gonna go with it. I mean, we have to start showing, there's a project going on in this town, and it's working. We've just had a little issue on how recording it. And like I said, Burlington City, huge. They had a problem with recording it, okay? The good part about the town of Killington is we've only had so far up to date $12,000 worth of increment. So we're not in no $100,000 going back to the education. We're getting ahead of this, and we're going to be ahead of it. And it's gonna work out. And like I said earlier, the water line already has enough increment to pay the loans for the next 40 years. Now we need to get going on the road, and that's at a 3.375 note once we get interim financing for it and get it done. But there should be, by that time, say 2 years from now, the road finished. We're hoping, Michael, that there's some kind of village plans in front of us, but I'll keep on saying it, and Michael keeps on getting tired of it, me saying this, that they know next year, whatever increment's not there to pay the bill, they're on the line for it. And it's actually a lot lower than what it was forecasted for when we first started this. Because if we take a $22 million note at 30 years at 3.375, it's somewhere in like the $1.3 million range. I believe when Michael first signed on to this, or Great Gulf signed on to this, we were talking like $2.5 million, right, Michael? Or more. So,
Yeah.
and you might just want to touch on, Michael, how you guys have this in your budget.
Yes, we do. We're fully expecting that our property taxes will increase once the road is constructed and the bonds have to be repaid. Where we got very fortunate was that the town found grants and received grants far in excess of what we had originally underwritten for the tax increment financing. So the amount that we have in our budgets is significantly lower than what we had originally pro forma'd when we got involved with the project. So it's good news for both of us that you've got an in-house team. I think Lisa Davis was very instrumental in finding those grants, and we're the beneficiaries of it. So we want to bring the project to market as soon as we can, but in the meantime, we understand that we're on the hook for the property tax increase that will repay the bonds for the road.
And And I'm just gonna say what Michael had said here. When I look at this, contracts 1 through 3A, $23 million is the total. Contract 4, $8.7 million. So I'm coming up with some $32 million note. And out of that, the grants that Lisa and SRF had received to us, Michael only has a bill of $13,480,000 over 40 years at 0%, and there's already enough increment from the reappraisal to cover that payment starting next year. This project is a success, and it's going to be a success. And Michael's project, whenever he gets going, is going to be a success, okay? So,
It will, and we will be able to take that savings, and put it into the project, put it into better marketing, better communications, better sales, and thereby help ensure that the overall project's a long-term success as well.
okay, so thank you.
And then, of course, we're part of the resort and the whole capital improvement program at the resort, which was also something that we did not underwrite originally, and is a huge benefit to us and to the resort and to the town that they are continuing to improve all of their infrastructure, and to the point where I think Killington Resort will be one of the finest ski facilities in the country.
So you're talking about the private partnership purchasing the resort, and you guys are part of that?
Yes.
So some 10% of that in there. And I'm not gonna name names of other companies or whatever, but you can see lately, like, there are other big places that are laying off a lot of people and and I think, luckily, Phil Gross and Michael, Ferry jumped in and got some 20-something other folks to chip in to be an independent. This town is cooking, and it's cooking well. We're not burning up, we're moving forward. So, thank you for your input there, Michael. I'm gonna turn it over to the board, if the board has any questions on any of the stuff we just went through. Vito?
Nope.
Celia?
No.
John?
No, I'm great.
Okay. So now we're gonna turn it over to the citizens in the room, because it's citizens input time. I'm gonna start in the back.
I don't know if now or,
If it's for fire stuff, we have a fire section.
okay, so I have enough.
That's not citizens input, we already have something here. Front row? Zoom, anybody? Go ahead.
What's going on with the meeting for the select board, the town manager?
What's going on for the,
Yes, he's on leave right now. Is there a meeting coming up? Is it gonna be open to the public?
I would have to wait for, hear back from the both councils. I think there's something for September, middle of September. That's all I can say right now.
Will it be open to the public?
That is up to the town manager. It's his hearing. Okay?
Thank you.
George Brad, I just want to say it's nice to see stuff getting together, especially the money situations. It's a shame that we didn't have it together a little earlier, but at least we have it together now. And you're doing a very good job, Matt. Thank you, appreciate it.
It's a team effort, thank
No,
you.
I know it is.
Ron Kish, you have your hand up if you want to unmute.
Thank you, Jim. I have a quick couple of things, about River Road up toward the Route 4 end. It appears where the curb is starting to wash out again. I know the road crew's been out there a couple of times to fill that. And after last night's storm, just had a couple pictures of it sent to me this morning, and it looks like it's washing out and filling into that culvert that was put in over there again. So I'm concerned that the fill is going to clog that brand new culvert up there. And then secondly, as far as I'll say public safety thing on that curve, it's happened a couple of times, and now Saturday night at 3:45 in the morning, somebody flew straight into they didn't make the turn, flew straight in the telephone pole and knocked out the power to half of River Road. is there anything that can be done to try and relegate the speeds that people are flying up River Road from, down toward the pool, up toward Route 4? Either speed bump or the portable speed thing, even putting that in front of the old firehouse, that anything, because, this guy at least hit the pole and it stopped him from ending up in the river, in the Thundering Brook. But he was told, basically, they were told if he didn't hit that pole, he was ending up in Thundering Brook.
Green Mountain Power probably would have liked that better, but.
Yeah, they would have.
I mean, so the select board can only ask the town manager if you can contact, and Ron, maybe you can send your pictures or whatever to the town manager,
That would be great, Ron.
and then that way they can take care of it. But I just want to let the public know, like, if you have an issue with a road, or you have an issue with a tree down, or something like that, don't wait for the board meeting to happen, because we can't do anything. Okay? All we can say is, did you get a hold of the town manager to get a hold of the highway crew? Or if it's, I would like to have the speed sign put there, well, that's the police department. So I don't know if we have that portable speed sign still available, because we not got those posts or whatever. But the ones, I do know we bought like 5 or 7 of them, and they are supposed to be able to be moved to different places, so it just might be at that point, putting in a new pole and then moving from somewhere else over there for the speed to tell people to slow down. So that's on your hands, Rob.
The speed limit on River Road was decreased.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, well, there's speed limits and people always go faster, so.
At
Yeah.
3 a.m. who
At
knows
3 a.m. in
how
the
much
morning,
alcohol
well,
will-
let's not get into that, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just not get on, he might have been doing the speed, but, or slower. So, but please bring it up to the town manager, Ron.
Will do.
All right, thank you. Anybody else online have anything for citizens' input?
Yeah, Jim, Steve Wilkins.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Jim, I brought up to the board probably 4 years ago, and you and I have talked about it a few times, the importance of having cell service down at Green Mountain National. I had a guest playing golf with me on Saturday, and one of the first things he said, this is a safety issue. What if somebody has a heart attack? What if somebody gets hurt, hit with something? What would it take for the town to put a tower down, looking around the course, maybe behind the 16th tee? It's a high spot. It would give good service to most of the golf course area, and it would give a lot of people a good peace of mind.
We'll have to go to the golf course, and you brought it up many times, and to be honest with you, I only play golf maybe once or twice a year, and I love going to Green Mountain National, because once I get past the first hole, my Wi-Fi goes away and nobody can get a hold of me.
That's the other problem.
No, I'm just,
Get a hold of you.
well, 20 years ago, nobody could get a hold of me either on a golf course either, so, and that was the enjoyment of playing when I used to play 2 or 3 times out in San Jose area, because nobody could get a hold of me.
right.
But we will look into it, we'll put it into, this time, we have told managers in the past to look into it with Great Golf, okay, Great Life Golf, okay, to look into it. And maybe instead of putting a tower up,
They have range extenders.
maybe
You
it
can
should be
buy
extenders for the
amplifiers.
Wi-Fi
Yeah, you can buy
to go
amplifiers.
through and go onto trees to get to.
But I would
whatever.
add, if it's an expense to the town, should we really be spending more money on the golf course at this point? But that's an.
Absolutely spend more money at the golf course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it would be that the golf course will have to fund it or
Well,
whatever.
that's my point.
So Rob, just like we told Ron,
Yeah, sure.
it's not us. You look into it,
Rest assured.
all right? Anybody else
Thank you.
online?
You're welcome.
Not hearing anybody else online. Treasurer's report.
Jim, I got one more, I'm sorry. Sorry to come back. I just want to.
Name your name.
Yep, my name is Roger Rivera. I just want to go touch back on what Jim mentioned about the article in 7 days. And not only did the city of Burlington have difficulty, but the gentleman who runs it, I don't remember what his name was in the article, who runs the TIF for the state of Vermont, also stated in the article that it is an unfair burden for the state to put this, to create this tax-generating revenue fund for towns to build out infrastructure without a support system from the state. But they're more than happy to do it because they're collecting tax revenue. So that was another part of the good that came out of that article. And that's a pretty important point. That's it, thank you.
It also said I was cleared, but
Yes,
anyway.
well, we
moving
knew that
forward.
from the beginning.
So, treasurer's report and updated financials first. So, I've got the treasurer's report in front of us. Monica, you want to go through it?
I think you guys touched today like a lot already, and I'm glad that you guys were able to secure that loan because I was really worried already. Yeah, we end up July we have 5.6 million, but that's, as we know, we paid the loan in August. We're collecting the taxes now. It's very busy in the like a bookkeeper office and treasurer's office as well. So I'm glad that we have that loan.
So Celia,
coming in.
since you're new, okay, and you look at these things and you think, it's pretty good. We got 5.641 million in the bank, right? There's 3,657,000, call it 3,658, that is in the restricted funds, and $549,000 that's owed to the restricted funds. And when you look at the restricted funds, those are the items that are in yellow. And if you add them up, you have to add that to the 3.1 to get, because those yellows are subtracting, they're not adding. Okay, so what they're doing here is they add up all of the yellows and then they give us what's owed to the restricted funds. But you would think, wow, we've got, $4.2 million that's dedicated out of the 5.6, but 5 days later, we owed $6.3 million to a bank, and we only had 5.6 million in the bank. That was a really rough telephone call. So,
But we got it done.
well, we got it done. We'll give you $5 million on the 5th, and we'll give you the other money within 10 days to 2 weeks. And we got it done. And now we can get to 3.4. So,
I have a question.
To me, this is like looking back, and this is like last month, could we get a cash flow statement on?
I'm sorry, I don't have a time to do the cash flow. I wish I do, maybe in September when we already collect the taxes, I have a time for it. I'm like really like a swamp right now with things. So I will do like my best to do it in September. I never have it done before, like I mentioned, but I can like work on it when I have a time. Okay?
I have to stop you there because back on May 6th of 2025, Dave Atherton gave the board a cash flow statement from you. It was only 4 or 5 line items, and he then wrote emails that he was concerned.
Not from me.
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
what he told us. So May 6th was a really magical day, especially for my family, but that's what we were told. And it was 4 line items. It said we had X amount of money in the bank this date. It said we owed X amount of money on June 1 to the school. And we're short this amount of money for the restricted funds. And that's when all of a sudden everything got crazy, but nobody was able to do a cash flow. And at that point, the finance director stayed till 10 o'clock at that night and did a cash flow and showed that we were okay. But nobody wanted to look at that cash flow statement. We need to get a cash flow statement here, and I truly believe that we've had a position of a finance director starting from 2023. So prior to that, the treasurer and the town manager should be putting something and working together. And maybe this is one of the silo things or whatever that we've got to clear up. I'm gonna leave it at that, but it's already the end of August, it's already September coming. We won't have a cash flow for August, but we will hopefully have one for the September.
Okay.
All right?
I will do my best, like as I can, but I can.
Vito, do you have any questions on the?
Nope.
Celia, do you have any questions? Bill?
Well, the only question I have is, I think, Jim, you're pointing out that the restricted fund money is really not there. Okay, so, because, for instance, let's say magically, we told all of the organizations that had restricted funds, you could go out and spend this money tomorrow. We couldn't pay the bills that would come in from that spending. So that basically says the money's not there.
Bill, on July 31st, I had to talk to a bank.
No, I know.
Bank for about 30 minutes and explain to them that they're looking for a payment in 5 days for $6.3 million, and we only had 5.6 in the bank.
Well, let me get to my point. My point was, Vermont statute basically says we can take loans against our restricted funds, but we have to create a paper on our balance sheet saying that we owe this money to the restricted funds. When are we going to do that? When are we going to just, because I look at the treasurer's report.
Bill, I would say, we're not already doing that, is would be my question.
Yeah, no, I don't think we are.
Well, if we're not, then we're already in a problem, right?
Yeah, no, I believe, because if we were doing it, okay, I would think the treasurer's report would indicate that. Okay,
I'm going to throw in that we come back to that prior to the TIF and prior to the FEMA, the flood in 2023, okay? Just running a regular town, it worked.
Right.
It worked.
Yeah, no, all I'm saying here is.
That doesn't mean it's right.
It's
but
not
it
good
worked.
practice.
No, it's not good,
But
all I'm
it's not
saying
good
here
practice.
is, we need to add this onto the list to make sure that we're doing it, that's all I'm saying. Because this is not a surprise, we've had these conversations for a while.
Last year.
Yeah, right, okay, but at some point, I would expect to see that, well, actually, our restricted fund balance is zero, and it's owed $3.6 million from these different accounts. That's what I would think that the treasurer's report would say.
I think the issue is, and I'm not going to use the comment, I'm going to use pooled cash.
Right.
Pooled cash, this board here, use the word pooled cash.
Yes.
Okay? And we use it. And on one hand, we've done some $4 or $5 million worth of work up on East Mountain Road from that flood. And we only borrowed $2.4 million for it, okay? So we've actually, well, I can't say we saved ourselves interest because Abby put in an email one time that there's $7-point-something million worth of work to be done up there, and that FEMA was going to allow you to go out and borrow those funds, and they would pay the interest, okay? So the town just has to start learning, like, we're not this big pool of cash and just write checks and then have other money come in.
This is the one place we should be we should have silos, so to speak.
Yeah.
Is with our cash.
But the town needs to get into the point that when there is a flood the next time, and I think we need to write a policy, okay, that when there is a flood, we need to set up a funding mechanism for it, so we're not draining the restricted funds.
Right.
So we have the right to go and borrow
Or
that
if you
money.
borrowed the money from the restricted funds, the funding policy would say, hey, we have a promissory note that the town can, and by statute, can write it for a year, okay?
Well, there already is a statute that says if you're taking from the restricted fund.
You're supposed to write, you're supposed to document
You're supposed
it.
to get permission.
You're supposed to document it.
From the board.
Right.
Okay, so, but what I'm getting at is that most of these flood things nowadays, they say you can go borrow it. Let's say there's some other issue that comes up that we're not aware of. We can borrow money for a tax anticipation note or a current expense note. Now, the TIF, the voters did vote to use up to $1.7 to $2 million. I know some people couldn't, and this is not employees, this is outside, couldn't comprehend that we were allowed to use these pooled cash for it. And then if it got up over $2 million, April 1st of 2026, we were supposed to give a document to Great Gulf, sorry, Michael, Great Gulf, and they would have reimbursed us. But we had to get that to him, to Great Gulf, by April 1st, and
we failed to do that.
we failed to do that, okay? But that is not the treasurer's report to do that. That was not the treasurer's to do that. That was the finance department, okay? So,
Town manager.
and the town manager, okay? So, we just have to try to find a way of working together as a group, instead of working in silos. That's all.
Coming back to
Coming back.
processes and procedures.
So, John, you have any questions?
Yeah, so looking at the restricted funds, I see the equipment replacement fund at negative 164,554,89, but coincidentally, the Bitmus resurfacing fund, is it the exact same number?
Yeah, I just
So how does
noticed,
it
I just noticed that
So how does
too. That was that, I think
That's
that was,
$12,000.
that was like a typo. I'm sorry, that's supposed to be negative 12,177.41.
If you remember, in the past, there was $212,000 that was negative there.
Right.
Yeah, so
And
that
then
was
we got
just-
the $200,000 for doing the striping on West Hill and River Road.
Right.
So it took it down to 12, negative 12. It
So
just-
I will
So does
fix
that
that.
throw off the number then on this?
So
page?
that will change the number, yes.
Okay.
I just noticed that too, actually. That must be just,
So the
I was doing-
549 has to come down about 152.
Right.
that's right. So
Okay.
I will like update that fund list and the treasury report also.
It doesn't change the 3.1, okay?
But it's
Subtract.
part of, though, what is so important that we need to focus on these things, is that we have to be accurate and we have to be correct. So it's just important that we review the work, that's all I guess I'm saying.
Okay.
And then, what I would ask is if we could get a regular report on a monthly basis for outstanding debts and loans, because one of the things that is a little frustrating at times, and again, it's not about a person or anything, it's about the process and the knowledge and the information, how we share it, is that, we get on the phone with the bank and we're talking, and then it's like, oh, and there's, $2 million that's due in November as well. And, so in forecasting, it's hard to look forward in anticipation of that. So I would assume when we're drawing down, we're recording this, and if we're recording it, we must know when these payments or balances are due. And I'd like a report that would show when those payments or balances are due, and have it constantly refreshed as things are paid off and new loans are taken, so that we can have one sheet of paper that we can look out and be like, well, in 2 months, we have this coming up, whereas right now, we're getting kind of blindsided in conversations with some of that.
So that was like, okay, that was the finance director again and town manager. They were on the top of that.
And I was going to say,
But-
prior to
but I can
2023, we
I
didn't
can-
have a finance director.
Well, we have like Mark Dakota, who was our
No,
accountant.
no. Mark came in like 2022, 2023.
No, he was 2019, I believe. That's when he started,
But under the rules and
But
regulations.
yes, I can,
for the
I
treasurer-
can make that list for,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you. That would be very beneficial. It's such a forecasting tool that we can
Sure.
use to see what's out there, what we have to anticipate for, because a lot of what we're managing right now is literally cash flow, and, to know that we have to come up with $2 million, $1.3 million, $4 million, whatever the numbers are at any given time, is going to be critical as we weave through these things moving forward. Thank you.
So I'm just going to come back to fund number 215. We've asked, what was it? What is it? And it's just sitting out there with $39,477. But we were told 6 or 7 months ago, Bill, that believe that it could be the rec trail grant that's negative $9,932, could be the zoning bylaw grant also for 6,000, so there's like 15, 16,000 of that $39,000 or whatever. So, one of the things we're gonna need for when the auditor comes in,
Yeah.
what is Fund 215 and how do we close out? If it's just a fund sitting out there with grant money that came in, then we need to pay, and if it is the zoning bylaw, grant that came in, and if it is the rec trail grant that came in, we need to close those two out, so it's not negative, and then take down the 39 to whatever, okay?
You bet.
All right, so, but that will be something with the auditor and working forward on that. Any
Okay.
other questions?
Nope.
Okay, so now also on the pro shop of the golf course, balance of July 31st, there was 472,000, call it 473, in the golf course bank account. And there is 157 in the restaurant area at this time. Underneath the pro shop, it shows that out of that 472, almost 12,000 is restricted. And it shows that the town is owed 204,000, which I think, Bill, what was it, 100,000 that we're saying?
I think it was 100.
I think 100,000 for this current year.
That's what I thought it is.
So once the 30 days is passed,
I think
of the
last year.
vote, then we should put the money over into the general
I think
fund.
like last year we wait till the end of the.
Yeah,
But that's.
we need money in the general fund to keep moving forward or whatever, okay? Because we've got loans that are gonna, come back up or whatever. So, can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Monica, were you gonna say something?
I have like one more, because restaurant have 157. I would like to move 100,000 to the golf account, yes, if you guys approve it, because that account don't like accumulate like any interest. So we usually do that, we move the money back to the pro shop.
Can I get a motion for the treasurer to move 100,000 from the Sherburne Golf Service Company restaurant to the golf pro shop account?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
They don't need $157,000 in their account, and they're getting ready to close down in a couple of months anyway, middle of October. And we normally knock that down to in November?
Yes.
About $25,000?
Yeah.
Okay, so, any questions, Bill? Any questions, Celia? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Monica.
Accept the report.
So, motion to accept the treasurer's report,
So moved.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to accept the restricted funds with the one change of the bit and miss refinancing to go down to. Resurfacing to go down to
Negative
12,000.
177.41 cents.
Okay. And also at the same time, we can't do that yet at this point. Once the budget clears and then we get the money over, we're gonna move
Some stuff.
the $20,000 over to the
Crack filling
crack filling.
for the roads.
But for now, it's just to make that one change. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thank you, Monica. The Fairy Tale Festival conversation. I'm just gonna say there were some emails that came from the library, and I understand their concern about where money is or whatever, and people stating things that money's not in the right place or whatever. But as we just went through this whole thing of saying, yes, we use pooled money, but there is money in the account. The festival is going on. I could not say that out in any of the emails, but I think this board, Bill, we already approved the Fairy Tale Festival with the other group. I think you were in front of us for the Fairy Tale
For the budget,
Festival.
yeah,
For the budget.
for the budget.
So the Fairy Tale is moving forward festival. Thank you. It does bring a lot of people here. and there are funds there. I can't answer, 30,000, 40,000, I think was said in donations, but then, it wasn't in 1 year, it's over a course, and then the money is funded into so you're spending some money or whatever. The last book I see has a dollar amount in the library fund.
There's a library events memorial funds.
So it's $39,477.14. That should be there to be drawn on for these events? What?
I have 37,912.57.
Okay, well, this is as of.
Account 160.
So that is Fund 160 on the restricted fund.
This is library events memorial funds, I'm sorry, I read something.
Yeah.
$37,912.57.
Right.
Okay?
There
So-
is one other concern that concerns the festival itself. I have 3 companies who have not yet been paid for services. One of them is Amazon. We're at least $1,000 overdue for that. We have a book jobber that hasn't been paid $612. I've got a couple of other people asking why they aren't getting paid. And I got an email from Amazon this morning dropping our credit line from where we were down to where we hoped we'd not be.
So we're being told, Rob, from the person that cuts the checks too, that the 11th of every month, the credit card is automatically paid.
But this isn't credit card.
So this is an Amazon account.
This is a business account through Amazon.
Okay, so it's a business account, and this is something that you told me a few years ago that was cut once before.
It was cut once before.
So how much is it?
Right now, it's at 2,000,
Okay, and what was it in the beginning?
5.
5. So, the board told the manager to hold back, or just simple business, I don't even know if we had to tell them, that we had $6.3 million due on the 5th, and we only had $5.3 million in the bank.
Right.
So for 2 weeks, we said, hold off until we start seeing money coming in and then getting or whatever. So I don't know how long this Amazon, how old is this Amazon account?
Oh, it's 8 or 9 years old.
No, overdue.
Oh. We have overdue bills from back in the end of July that haven't been paid.
The end of July is like 23 days, and they're shutting our credit down over 23 days?
It's been consistently
It's
overdue.
It said a series, I think a series of late payments.
Yeah,
Going back how far?
3 years. And that's, one is Amazon, which is where we get a lot of the things that we give away at festival. The other one is a book jobber that we use to purchase books that's not getting paid. And the other one is the courier that allows us to do interlibrary loans between libraries and the state.
So,
What's the date of the book jobber for their invoice?
The date on their invoice,
Yes,
I can pull it
I think
up.
it's $612, you
It
said?
is, yeah. I offered to make the payment with a credit card, and they sent me this morning the way to do that. July 30th on both invoices.
so they invoiced us on July 30th? So they,
We've been consistently late on payments.
well,
just like
yeah, but if somebody gives me a bill on July 30th,
No, it was due on.
It was due on the 30th.
okay, so that's what we're asking,
Oh,
so.
sorry, it was due on the 30th.
So
When did we get the bill is, I guess, the question.
35 days before that.
So we got it somewhere in early June, early June. Okay? So, well, Rob, you're gonna have to take a look into that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could, just a suggestion, if you only have $2,000 of a credit line with Amazon, and yet you have a credit card, or the town has a credit card, I suggest that when we hit that credit line, we get it paid on time first, Rob, okay? But in the meantime, it could be like, I have a credit line for $2,000, and the first week, I use it all up because I have a big event, the Fairy Tale Festival, that maybe you start using the credit card.
We've been asked by the town not to do that. They said it's harder to track.
Who said that? Who said that?
Over the years, I've been told it's harder to track.
But what department or what position said that?
It was either a financial person, and I've heard it from Kirsten, I've heard it from Mona, I've heard it from, who was here before Kirsten? Mary Ellen. I've heard it from the other guy. I mean, all along, they say they want the invoice because it's easier to track.
Well, if I go online and I buy something from Amazon,
Yep,
and I put my credit card information in, I have an invoice.
you do,
Okay.
but I've been doing what we're told.
Well, I don't have the history on this one, but I can say that if we have a credit card and you have one, then what would you use it for? If you can't use it for something important like this?
We use it for local, for refreshments, for programs. We use it for interlibrary loans. We use it for postal services.
Okay.
How much credit limit is on the credit card for the library?
3,000?
I believe it's 3,000.
Do you see an issue with,
As long as you're not gonna go like over the limit, you need to
Yeah.
call me and ask how much we still have.
Right,
And then we can pay it.
and we pay it off every month. I mean, you pay it off every month.
Yeah, we do.
We don't have a lingering amount on the card.
I think it's just some kind of internal thing that's gonna have to get worked out, but the Fairy Tale Festival or whatever, let's make sure that, you know,
It has what it needs.
Amazon account, how much is owed on it? And if there's a way of ACHing or whatever, the amount to them, so it opens it up right away again within this week.
Sure.
That's not your job, Jane, it's, we're giving it to the town manager to look into. So, you're gonna have to pull up the library's Amazon account,
Yeah, I can
treasurer,
give you
and then
all
you're
that
gonna have to make a
information.
payment on it. Because, I mean, it could be that, you know, you pay it off today, and you only have a $2,000 limit, and then you spend $2,000 in 3 days, and you're not gonna be able to use anymore until, or we just have to keep on top of it, like, hey, you have a $2,000 limit on this account.
How
I pay,
often-
I used the full credit limit.
How often are bills being paid? Every 2 weeks? Is that what we're trying to do?
All I can tell you is the only time that we got involved is July 31st, finding out that we owed $6.3 million and we only had 5.6 in the bank. Other than that, Monica, how often are
We have a
checks?
deadline.
How,
I'm not the AP person, but I believe it's every 2 weeks they cutting a check and I signing them.
so how often are you signing checks?
I think it's every 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's every other week.
Right.
Which aligns with warrants, like, you know, when we see warrants, it's usually every couple weeks, so.
Yeah.
Right.
Jane, where did the bills from Amazon go? To the library or to the town?
They come by email to the library.
To the library.
They are printed out, coded, and then given to the town for payment on a
So that's where the
regular basis.
bottleneck is.
Weekly.
It's a workflow issue.
Yeah.
It's just hearing what you're saying, it's a workflow issue, and those are things that we are definitely looking to change in town business and how we do what we do, because some of it's just antiquated. What I'm hearing, what you're saying, is mostly as a result of just being stuck in a way of doing business versus the way we could be doing business, which would be more efficient.
Well, the reason this all came up was we were told to stop spending unnecessarily, which is fine. We did. We stopped ordering books. Please wait until after the vote, which we did. And then we never heard anything else as to can we resume or should we stay on the low end? Conversation, communication never came, which is why I asked Rob, are you sure? Because we're a month out. Do we have the funds to be able to go? Because if we're going to cancel, I need to do it now.
Well, we're not canceling the Fairy Tale Festival.
And I shared that.
Well, then why were we discussing about it to be canceled if we
I have no
can't?
idea why I'm on the agenda for tonight, because we said.
Well, you wrote an email to us, and it was,
To Rob.
well, you wrote it, and then he came to me,
Oh.
okay? He came to the chair saying, hey, what's going on with the Fairy Tale? And I said, we approved it. So what's the issue? Who told you not to buy anything?
We were told not to spend
I said,
money.
who told you not to spend money?
Rob. I have an email that says, please hold off on spending until after the vote.
Okay.
Okay. I'll take a look at that. I don't remember when it was sent out. Do you recall? Maybe.
I have a copy of it.
Okay.
Not with
So
me,
that,
but
that comes back to, we were having a cash thing, so here we are today, and we're saying still that September 2nd, but if you need funds for, I mean, that's like any business, and this is a problem, this is like government. Like, you know, it just thinks there's an endless bucket of money, and we just keep on spending it, any government thing. But a real business, when you know that you got $6 million due in 5 days, and you only have $5 million in the bank account, someone's gonna send something out and say, stop spending.
Stop.
Until we get this under control.
And also our average, you know.
Or maybe we're Washington DC and you're 40 trillion in debt.
And you can print money.
And you just print money, but we can't print money. So.
Look, I understand Jane's concern. I
I
totally
do
get
too.
it. The one thing I will say is, at some point this evening, when the select board members and Monica sign this, my focus has been on $3.4 million, and I'm sorry if Amazon is not getting the money they wanted as quickly as they wanted, and I truly am sorry. But in the big scheme of things, I think this will get us the money we need to be more forthright in being able to pay things on a quicker basis. That's my guess and my goal.
So I would just ask the library to come forward within the next day or two to the town manager with bills that are outstanding.
Okay.
That we can pay, okay? But if they're less than 30 days, then we're not gonna, and we get 30 days.
And I think that's an important conversation. is-
Unless it's a credit card that has hit its limit, or it's an Amazon account that had hit its limit, and they need that credit available to do an event that's coming up September 19th. And they're gonna need a couple of weeks to get stuff in. So if you have an Amazon account that's tapped out, and even if it's due in 20 days from now, we need to ACH or wire the money right away to get the account back up and running, so you have money to do this event.
I can't imagine you can't pay the Amazon account with the town credit card, to be
Well,
honest with you.
she
like-
said they can, and it was whatever, so that there's a way, okay? So we just need to find out that, and that on the credit card account, if it's tapped, and it's still not due for 20 days or 10 days from now, and you need it to start getting stuff, then we need to
Make a payment.
Make a payment. But this is communication of, and instead of like, well, my Amazon, I don't know, because I don't know if we still have time limits to pay it, and it's just like, we're gonna wait till the 30th day or whatever, but if that's the case, I understand why we're not. But if it's for something big or whatever like this, and you need the funds, then we
It
need
is
to do it.
past due. It was due the end of July.
Okay.
It was due the end of July. So
Okay.
it was not paid by its due date.
Right, okay. So if it was due by the end of July and we mail the check out to Amazon,
Yes.
okay, so with the, if we owe somebody money on July 30th, we probably would have sent the check out around
The 15th.
the 15th to get there. And there was no hole because Rob didn't come on until the 21st, I think, okay?
That's correct.
So, you know, Patrick was put on hold on the 9th, okay? But, you know, we'll have to look into it. I think we're going in the right direction. I think we're just talking a lot about, let's get the bill paid.
It was not my purpose to spend any time at all at a select board meeting on this, because I asked Rob, yes or no, is the money there? He said, yes, go ahead, and that was the end of it for me.
Right, but that didn't mean that Rob knew that it hadn't been paid or couldn't be paid, because I didn't know that.
I didn't know that until this morning, when I got the email.
I mean, that's the bookkeeper at this point, but I will have a conversation. We've been working well together, and that'll be a top priority tomorrow morning. How do we accelerate this and get them paid?
I will have all that paperwork to you first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
Have fun at the Fairy Tale Festival.
Looks like a good event.
It's always a good event. It's packed. Sometimes you can't even get in there. So the town's use of public safety building. So, Steve, there was a conversation like 2 months ago, or whatever, that was asked because of fire department working out of here or whatever. I said the town manager would look into it, okay? We don't, it wasn't you. So, wasn't me. So I said, okay,
Too long.
but going through this building was built as a fire department, a police department, and this area here is for public use. That's what it was built for. So we cannot find a place at this point. I think Rob got a message the other day or whatever, that KSAR is being told that they're not gonna be able to stay in here.
I don't know where that came from, that,
That the fire department is saying that they're taking over this whole area and KSAR is part of the police department and not here?
I'm not aware of that conversation at all.
And you know what? I believe it, because it's just the way rumors go, that, hey, I asked the board, meaning you, if they could move their meetings out of here, okay? And the board said they would look into it, but the town has put money into speakers, into a television, into a screen. So this building was built for this section to be public. We're not moving out of here.
And I'd add to that, that there are members of the public who are online tonight that have reached out to me repeatedly that would even like a better experience, and this is the optimal experience we can provide. So there is no place in town that's going to improve the experience that we can, give to the taxpayer and the resident who's online. So I don't know what we could possibly do otherwise, small meetings here, there, or elsewhere, but I don't see how we could move a select board meeting to another venue with the technology that's in place.
One of the things that's changed dramatically is that this has now become a firehouse. What that means is there are people living here 24/7. That was kind of a undiscussed section when we built the building.
No, it wasn't.
It was not discussed as immediate as it's occurring. It was always designed to become a firehouse where people live.
And I'm going to say I disagree with that, and being the longest here, I disagree with that statement 110%.
That this was never built to eventually house people?
This was built to have this section to be a public community room.
I'm not going to...
He's talking about...
So the original plan, let's go back in time, Steve. The original plan was to build this building with more space than is in it now. But the design group, because certain people in town were questioning, there was supposed to be an addition or something on here for sleeping quarters, I believe. And that got cut out somewhere because it would have went over the dollar. You were on the committee, Vito, and they were supposed to, and they shrunk it. So it was always supposed to be a firehouse with moving to a paid fire department, that they would be staying here, but at the same time, this was supposed to be a community room, and that's supposed to be the police station, and that's what it was sold to the voters. So maybe we should be looking into, was the plans for this building, when it was cut down, also kept in mind that there would need to be this other section put on? Is this building capable of having that other section put on? I wasn't part of the committee.
So two answers to that. This room of original design, if I tell you it was twice the size, it was 3 times the size.
Okay.
When it came to the town manager going, this is the cap, you gotta cut. And so we all looked at it and said, where the apparatus lives really can't be smaller. I mean, you need the physical space. So this became the sacrifice room. The second part was the far end of the building, where KSAR parks their trailer now, and there's that, from my understanding, was prepped that if we needed to add another bay, because at the time, somebody was pushing hard to get an ambulance here.
Well, the volunteer fire department moving over, Gary and yourself wanted an ambulance here.
I'm sorry,
Gary Roth wanted an ambulance. That was the budget that was put to the select board.
The town manager wanted the ambulance, and the fire chief followed what he was requested. That's exactly how that occurred.
Okay.
We did not, so that ground is prepped to put an addition.
Okay.
To make this simple, there are people living here 24/7 now. We knew that was coming, we didn't know how soon. The issue becomes when the board is involved in some very strenuous things. It happens. How does it work out? People want to cook their dinner, it's kind of awkward.
There's a screen here, there's a door here, the kitchen is inside. Cook in there. We're having a meeting, they weren't cooking in there earlier. What is the issue? This is open, this slider here, I would believe is here in case the community, somebody wanted to throw a party here like the town and wanted to use the kitchen, then they could open that up. But the reason why that's sliding there is to keep this away from the firehouse side.
And if they're, I can't get into the nitty. If someone's cooking in there and there's pots and pans getting banged and someone's over here having a very quiet meeting, it could be interfering with either side. You feel awkward to go in and cook when you know there are people talking. I'm just trying to explain what the feeling is, and then when...
And I'm just trying to say, feelings, nothing but feelings. This building was built, this section was built for a community room. So we can go on and on and on, but I make a motion that this is a community room. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Bill?
Well, I didn't think we needed to go so far to a motion, because
Well, I think we do.
I think what Steve was trying to say is that the fire personnel are trying to be polite and not make noise while there's meetings going on here, okay? But it's also getting in the way of them living here and doing their jobs. Am I saying that correctly, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess the question is, how do we figure out, how can we, quote, live and let live on this? Okay, is there something we can do, Steve? Okay, I mean, we need this room to run community meetings. okay? And that's just the way it is, okay? Motion or no motion, we need this room to run community meetings.
But
So how-
we needed a motion, but we're going back and forth.
Well, no,
to
but
make it clear
but the
that
question.
It's a community room.
The question is, okay, it is a community room, and we know the other side is the fire station, so how can we live together? Okay, because that's what we have to do, so how do we do that?
Schedule your meetings earlier.
No,
Schedule, let them know what your meetings are doing.
Well, it's two evenings a month. I mean, we're talking 2 evenings a month that we meet.
Well,
Now,
we
have
meet,
had
but
more-
other groups meet
Right,
here as
right.
well.
Yeah.
So the question is, in the use of this room, okay, how are we gonna live together? That's the question,
I would have loved it when the committee and the manager
yeah.
designed the building and said that this was a community room, they would have taken into effect, or, what would happen here. We had large engineers, we had some firm designing a building that was supposed to be, this is a community room, that is the firehouse, they were supposed to be sleeping. I get it that maybe the manager said, but this is, once again, like, people come here to these meetings and talk about a stick on the road. They talk about a little pothole somewhere. But when a manager says to cut the fire department building down by how much? I heard it was maybe 800,000?
I believe more than that. So I'm
No,
going to...
what I'm getting at is that,
Can I ask a question?
yeah,
This room is the public meeting room.
right.
The other side of the wall is what?
There's a police and fire station, and I know where you're gonna go, but this room is built, this building is built
You
for the
didn't know where I
town.
was going to go. My question is, who can go on the other side of this wall
The select board,
into...
Any part of the town that we want, essentially. I mean, that's statute, I'm just saying that statutorily
I
speaking.
hear you.
it's owned
we
by,
have,
it's owned by
you know,
this, it's owned by the town, and the select board is overseeing. But there's some 6 offices that are throughout here, and they're not all being used, because there's only 2 firemen on at a time, and the
There
police
isn't.
department that has, and there's 1 shift that only has 1 on.
Correct.
Okay? So there's 6 different doors, and one of them is like a gathering room for meetings or whatever over there. So if the select board during a meeting needs to go into an executive session and use the room over there we were using with the copy machine, okay? But we were told that they're sleeping there, so we went over to the other side while we go into executive session. So we're trying to work with, but we're coming back to that this room here is a community room. And I'm sorry it was cut down by $1 million or $2 million or whatever, but for the long plan of the town, it should have, people come, like, it's like crazy, like, we got this problem, and it's such a little problem that $2 million over 30, if it was, and it's probably not 2 million, 2 million over building a building correctly for the future. That's what this building was supposed to be. The future of the fire department, the future of the police department, and the future of the community, okay? And we cut it for $2 million. I don't get that.
Can I just follow up what Bill said?
You don't have to keep on handies in your hand. We're having a conversation with the board.
I'm used to it.
Okay.
What Bill said, and I think we can stop the discussion here, and we can take and sit down and talk about how we make the balance, okay? And it's the needs and the wants, and if we sit down and talk about it, we can find a compromise that works for everybody. And I think that's the goal, and I think that's where I would like to go forward with.
Okay. So the board needs this room the second and fourth Monday of the month.
Right, we know that.
Okay?
Schedule.
There is a calendar that we're in for the second and fourth. I get it, sometimes there are emergency meetings that come up, and we can't put it up. And then there's going to be BCA hearings that are gonna happen here.
That I put on the
And
calendar.
put it on the calendar.
KSAR needs access.
KSAR needs access to this room.
Ms. Burke,
Okay, Ms.
Debbie,
Burke?
Debbie has a group that
She
meets here,
comes in
so
here.
she needs access,
Okay.
she needs access, so.
I'm not saying that's not what we want. I'm just saying there are times when we need to look at how do we, when something comes up, we can talk about it. Not contentiously. I'm not saying it's not a public space. I'm saying we need to look at how, when things run late in the night, and if it gets loud in the room. If someone's watching TV and it got loud, and I got asked to go out and say to the crew, turn it down a little. Again, it's a, hey, this is what, and it works.
All right, I think we've talked a lot into this. It's a public safety, this is a public safety building with a public room in it. We are putting in 90% of the times when we're gonna be here. BCA is doing it, the DRB does it.
I believe
the Planning
Linda maintains
Commission
a
does
calendar.
it.
I think Linda
There's a
maintains a
calendar there.
calendar.
There are gonna be a few times, but, you know, that's what happens in a public setting. I understand that the fire department has people here that are staying at times, but I don't see where this is a select board issue until maybe we're gonna have to design a different place or whatever to maybe expand the building, but I don't even know if the building is capable of being expanded for sleeping quarters, because we went through that with Paul Ginther at one time, and I think we took one or two of the offices and we turned them into bedding area or whatever.
Yes.
You know, so, maybe we should look into seeing soundproofing the room, so if they're in there, that it's soundproofed, and, I mean, you know, but it shouldn't be the board thinking these things up. I mean, you know, and I appreciate what you're saying, Steve, but, you know, like, and let's move forward or whatever on it, but, you know, we were basically asked to leave and not come here. That was 2 months ago. You were like, we don't want you here. So, no, that's what was said.
And your statement was, we probably shouldn't be here if people can hear the executive session.
I said, we'll take a look at it. That was executive session. So then we moved from there and we moved over there. We solved that problem. So we will continue to have our meetings and we'll go forward from there. The E911 coordinator.
I gave Steve the book. He told me
Okay.
that one page he needs to update.
So we just need to update one page on there. It says there's no changes.
I'm sorry?
There's a book, an E911 coordinator program book. Did you give the book to
Yeah,
me?
I gave it to you this evening.
The reason I gave the book is who is the E191 coordinator? We don't have one. That's why I handed it to the town manager, because it says that's who would be doing it.
Okay, can I have the book? It was the fire chief before, guys, just so you know.
That's what I know.
It was Bowen, so it was the fire chief. So if there's not a fire chief, then, you know, Steve is the administrator for it right now, so let him sign it.
By the way, 2 Mondays
Just a
out.
point, guys, Patrick Cushing, I was the 911 coordinator for addresses. The board made me that.
This is something different, Patrick.
Something, okay, all right, thank you.
This is a book long bigger than E911 address. This is a coordinator program, responsibilities and checklists, site building addition or change, road addition or change, emergency service zone. I thought maybe it was WIT. Yeah, so,
That's what I was doing.
yeah. Well, the last one to sign it was Craig Bowen in 2024. An annual review signature page.
And then myself. It's good that we have a book. Good to know. Thank you.
Okay, but it says municipality Killington, I have reviewed the 2024 VT 911, and it says annual. Name of the municipal contact, Craig Bowen, signature, he signed. Title of the municipal contact says fire chief, and the date is 1/24/24. So, I'm gonna make a motion that we make the town manager the,
We need a fire chief.
well, we don't have a fire chief.
Well, don't we have an assistant chief?
Right now, I'm going to make a motion for the town manager to sign this one-page thing and change it to 2026.
Okay.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Patrick said that he was, but he just didn't sign the paperwork at that
Oh.
point, because the book probably was never given to Patrick or whatever,
I don't know.
okay? So,
Thank you, Jim.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Water system status update, contract addendum number 2.
Actually, no, you skipped over this.
Skip the sealed bid.
FEMA.
Oh, open sealed bid.
It was here. You got it.
This is for,
ordinances?
what?
What about the ordinances?
The ordinances, I mean, we've talked about this, you're the administrator, certain things have to be updated to go from Sherburne Fire Department to
I've
Killington.
given it twice to town managers, it's in the emails, and it's,
So the town manager has to go through your ordinance for the fire department and make
it's
the
a
change?
town ordinance, not a fire department. It's under the state statute that there's 2 ordinances, and it's literally a name
It says
change.
fire department ordinance.
It says fire department ordinance, so we're sitting here saying fire department ordinances and E911 coordinator program.
So the wording is wrong, it should have said town
Okay.
ordinances.
All right, so let's make it on our next agenda the correct way, town ordinances, so we can. But I think we're playing here that in the town ordinances, there are ordinances for zoning, there's ordinances for the police, there's ordinance for the roads, and there's an ordinance for the fire department.
There's 2 ordinances, one is called the false alarm ordinance, and one is called the authorization to bill.
Okay, to build what?
To build,
I'm sorry?
To bill or build?
Bill,
To bill for car accidents.
Which is the fire department.
we've been talking about this for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a long time, and I thought one of the conversations was, we just said, Steve, somebody at the fire department needs to change the wording over.
Right, no, that was the
So
discussion.
let's just put it on the agenda for the second week of Thursday when we'll be here. So, I mean, water, so now we're into open seal bids for Richardson Road, the FEMA project. I have one bid that's coming in from
Craig Mosher.
Craig Mosier, dated 8/24/26 at 12:29 PM, and I think they had to be in by 4:30 today. Wow, it's under. So, I've got a lump sum bid price of $313,393.13. There is also, he omit the protective guardrails on both sides of the road. That was when Craig, KT or TK Hathaway, another,
Potential bidder.
a potential bidder, and Patrick Griffin from Enman Engineering said they don't need guardrails there, so they took out 8,000, but if we wanted to put the guardrails in, there's 2 houses beyond it, and you should see the rest of the road before that area, you make it there, you don't need guardrails. And then add an alternative, the owner may elect to accept the following, add alternate to adjust the total. Repair of 2 eroded road embankments with placed wrap walls as detailed for $23,000. So the lump sum bid is $313 with, we could either keep the guardrails in and add $8,622, and we can add in the $23,000 for repairing the road. And when I was up there, what's happening is the culvert, and up above the culvert and below the culvert, some 15, 20 feet beyond on each side, the road is already eroding out, so if we don't do that work,
We
we're
should-
wasting our money on the $313,000. But this is how the bid was put out, so. And then there is a unit price bid. Bidder will provide all labor, materials, services, and equipment necessary for completion of bedrock removal as needed for the following price. Bedrock excavation and removal in excess of 10 cubic yards provided for in the bid base. Anything after that will be $745 a cubic yard. So they're going into a river, and there's a lot of bedrock in the river. The engineers are saying that there's about 10 cubic yards that are going to be needed to be removed.
Could
But
be
in case
12,
it
could be 12, yep.
Could be 15 or whatever, so it's 745. I would like to get a motion to accept this bid as written, with the engineers to go through it to verify that everything here is correct.
I'd like to, can we add to that, to include the $23,000 for the riprap as to be done? Because I don't see why we would spend all this money and not spend an extra $23,000 to ensure it's gonna be stable.
So what are we thinking about the guardrails?
You were up there, what do you
$8,000.
think?
I never want to go back up. Is it? It's a sketchy road. I mean.
Well, is it an embankment on one side and a mountain on the other? Well, how?
No,
What are they?
the road is only about 7 to 8 feet wide at this section. Yeah. And the river is on both sides, okay?
Sounds like you need guardrails.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, but it's for like 2 miles like that. So it's just this one section. For $8,000, I would say go with the.
And we're only paying a
guardrail.
percentage, right? Because
Yes.
it's FEMA, so.
It's FEMA. It would be, well, the $23,000, we will, the guardrails will be included. The $23,000 of the other erosion stuff,
That's us.
that's us.
Perfect.
Okay, but the rest of it is
So then, the
3%.
yeah, so then I think the motion is to, you know, the total bid amount, it includes the $23,000 for the riprap work and the $8,000 for guardrail.
Can I get a second for that?
Second.
Any conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This work will get done in the springtime of 2027, because there's no way we're gonna be able to get the culvert in time for this winter. And, I mean, the work needs to be done by July 14th of 2027. If we didn't put it out to a bid and we don't get it done, then we would be doing this on our own dollar. And there are 2 other bids that are gonna come forward for Rim Road and Ledge Road, which were probably gonna be in the $600,000 for each one of them too.
Well, I bet Rim Road's gonna be more than that, but
Okay.
that style, it's
Okay.
a,
So, Enman Engineering is preparing that bid and getting everything going, but there's also easements that may need to be had on Rim Road for people to get to their house going through somebody else's front yard, which is trees and grass, but FEMA will pay for that, and then we'll pay for it to be replaced back with trees and everything, so. we'll
So what
get to
about the
that
part
next
that's
week.
getting eroded now? Does that have to be fixed now?
This part here, that's a good question. We'll ask Patrick when he reviews the bid first to make sure everything is there. I think they can, once it's done, then they can go in and do the 23,000, because that's on us anyway.
Yeah.
Okay? So, all right, so, all in favor of this bid?
Aye.
The water system status update, is Brian on? Hey, Brian.
There he
how you
is.
doing?
Hi, Brian.
I think people are just interested in just a little update, Brian.
I can give you a decent amount of stuff, so stop me, please.
Can you turn up your volume? You sound a little garbled.
I can try talking louder. Is that better?
Yes.
Much better.
I'm raising the volume.
Oh,
it's not
thank you.
There you go.
Got it, all right. So I wrote down the update regarding different phases of where we are in the project. So starting with contracts 1 through 3A, which is, labeled as our source. So that includes the Valley Wellfield project, as well as the pump station for the water system, as well as the storage tank at the top of Shagback Mountain. So contracts 1 through 3A are largely completed. Some of the most recent work that's been done, pushing us towards a large amount of completion, is they've done a decent amount of fencing around it and site restoration, preparing us, removing old material. They're very close to done on the well house side. The internal plumbing has been done, the electronics, the SCADA system has all been done there as well. The pump station is definitely the largest component out of all of them. The pump station is readying for completion. They actually went ahead and finished paving today, which is great. I mean, it's starting to look like, I know some people probably credit it as an eyesore when they drive past it all the time, but it's really starting to look like something that's coming together and something that's gonna do its job. So paving's been getting done. They've also done fencing around there as well as the well house, and they're looking to complete the fencing as soon as the paving sets. I believe tomorrow they're looking to do some work. Inside the well house, or excuse me, not the well house, the pump station, one of the largest components that needs to be done is we need to have our SCADA guy come back. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, I believe. It's a control system that would essentially make the water system function, I wouldn't say it by itself, but it helps provide automation. So Casella has been directed through Dufresne and ourselves to get him back. It's one of the large portions of work that needs to be done in order to move towards doing any sort of substantial completion, so that can be handed over to us so they can do the final demonstration of the water system. And trying to think, see what else I have there. The transmission main up to the tank. That we've talked about that a little bit about with some of the erosion control that we got approval to do some of that work for. That main has been pressure tested. And the storage tank is also near completion. I believe there's some minor SCADA work to be done there as well, but the fencing has been done completely. And there's some finished site work on the access road up to the tank, as well as I call it the lay yard, across from the tank access road, restoring that to the level that the town expects. So everything for contracts 1 through 3 has been pressure tested and is waiting coordination. For contracts 4, that is the distribution main that's going to be served from the middle of East Mountain Road going towards, I call it the resort cluster from East Mountain, from Killington Road, pretty much all the way down to Ravine Road is where it's referred to as. So that includes distribution main that's going to serve customers in around, I believe, 26 different water stubs for people that have done in pre-design, reached out to the frame group, showing interest in the water system, largely them being within 200 feet of the water system. So essentially the stubs, present an opportunity to not have any of the customers or any of their contractors have to do any sort of active water connection, maybe across the road. So let's say the water main was on one portion of the road and they needed to get to the other side. During that construction, when the main was dry, they bring that water stub up to the end of the property line in the right of way to basically have ease of access. There's a small portion of contract 4 water main that has been, I wouldn't call it held up, but it's stuff that needs to be done in conjunction with the road project, or it's been advised to. So SUR, who is the contractor who is doing all of the work, has told us they will be coming back once the road project is to be done, and then that will close out the project completely. We can't say it's substantial completion because there is a portion of water main that's left to do. All of the infrastructure that needs to be installed is being, held off over on the hillside, and I believe it is one of the resort housings. We've struck an agreement with the resort to allow us to hold a lot of the infrastructure over there in the meantime, just so they can pick up where they left off and not have to do any sort of crazy moving for all the pipe and hydrants and valves and fittings they have there. And for contract 4 financing, one of the things I was directed by the town manager was to preface, my involvement in the town financials has been a working understanding of how we got to paying and getting reimbursement for the bills, but in the absence of the people who actually executed that, I've been, helping Rob work and go ahead and get these coded and make sure they go where they need to go. So as of, I believe, a couple weeks ago, we got a combined $1.78 million billed to us from SUR in between two different pay requests. And the math on them tracks. Dufresne and I have looked at them, the work that they're going for is accurate. But one of the stops or the pauses that was put on me, or not put on me, but something that, caused me to take pause, is that I worked off a financial model that was left by our former Director of Public Works, and largely my understanding was we had an MDRC grant and we had a ARPA grant, and along with those there was the DWSRF, I believe 555 is what would be considered the reimbursement model for contract 4, and there was an $8.2 million GAN that was used, which I believe is that a grant anticipation note?
8.4, yeah. 8.4 GAN, grant anticipation note.
Got it. So a form of shorter-term financing, right?
Right.
So that's always been my assumption of how we've drawn down for that in lieu of us getting reimbursement from SRF for using any of these grants. And it was brought to my attention that I don't believe we have that right now. Is that something that that sounds right, that we don't have that short-term financing model in place?
Well, the GAN was $8.4 million. It was taken out on August 5th of 2025, and it was a one-year note.
Okay.
So this is getting back to silos, but, there is a $1.7 million document that I think you signed and coded, Brian, and then gave to...
That I signed?
No, not signed. I don't know if it's signed by you or whatever, but you gave me something the other day, like, hey, how are we paying this?
Yes.
And this gets back to, we had a $6.3 million note due on August 5th, okay? And we needed funds to come in from a tax anticipation note. And when you owe that much money to a bank and loans are closing out, we need to work together as a group to know, hey, listen, this project is still going on, and the loan is ending August 5th, and you're getting a bill in. How are we going to do it to pay it? So my understanding, just to be safe here, is that there's a 1.4 or a $1.5 million contracts 9 and 10 for SUR, or pay apps 9 and 10.
PR's 10 and 11, is that what you mean, Jim?
I think the 1.7 you're talking about is the 1.7. But 8 and 9, we're waiting for that to be reimbursed to us. And that's some 1.4 million. That's per Naomi and Lisa, okay? Lisa filed the paperwork about a month ago. Okay? So we're waiting for that money to come in. It's told that it's going to be here any day now for the last 2 weeks. So I believe, having a conversation with Naomi, that SUR bill, we still have maybe 5 or 6 days to where it's really due or whatever. So we're hoping that we get those funds in, that we can pay it. At the same time, if not, we're getting $3.45 million in from the tax anticipation note.
September 2nd.
And hopefully, we don't have to use that, but if we do, we'll have to put 1.7 million over into that bank account for contract 4. And when the funds come in from SRF and whatever for 8 and 9, then we'll replace the money back into the general fund. But that money is supposed to be any day.
We just need to label that money as it moves through our system.
We just have to label it correctly so we have it right. But I just wish that we all work, and it's not the board, but, when there's a loan out there, we can't think the loan is forever. It's a one-year GAN.
But that's back.
And that comes back to, Brian, like what I had asked the treasurer to start supplying us with, which is a report of all these loans that are out there so that we have a better sense and we can forecast and better plan these things.
I can tell you right now, we don't have any bans, we don't have any GANs that are outstanding. There's the bond anticipation and there's a grant anticipation. We don't have any of them outstanding. The only water loan that we have right now is that 40-year, that payment is next year.
With the TIF.
And we'll have those funds. So Rob showed me that paperwork, and it's a matter of what we're trying to do next, Brian, just so you know. And this is on the finance side. This has nothing to do with you or whatever, because you're the operator. But
Yeah,
but
I've had a play with supporting it, so I understand with the silos and everything. I think if there's a path forward, where there's at least information sharing, where you're just knowledgeable, but I'm not executing, that works out perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, I just need a path forward to go. Whatever we can do it,
Right.
works for me.
That's reasonable.
So the plan is that we're closing on this 3.4 on September 2nd. We told the bank in the conversation of asking for leniency and paying late on that note, that we would come back to them after we get the tax anticipation note for another 2.5 million for contract 4, and I think there is around $1 million on 1 through 3A. Naomi's going to give us all that numbers, because there's probably $3.5 million for contract 4, but we're not gonna be doing that work, like you said, up in the water line going up to Ram's Head. So she's
Right, I don't know,
Yes.
I don't know if it would be that much. I don't want to say that it's not that.
Well, Naomi's instructing us that we need 2.5 million with that 1.7 to continue for this year. And I don't know, you go to a bank when you owe them $5 million and you can't pay them on time and ask them for 3.4 and then another 2.5. I think we did a pretty good job, John.
Yeah, I think we got it done. Just doubling down.
All right? So we're gonna go for more money. It will, I think it's due in 5 or 6 days, that note, that bill. I think it was.
You are
Yeah.
somewhere around, we have it, I believe, in our laps.
So I want you to be able to rest that it will be paid on time.
Yep.
Okay, by
Perfect.
September,
I just wanted to-
by September 2nd, it will be paid, and we'll go from there. But I think one of the big questions that I'm getting asked is when is the system gonna be tested, chlorinated, so that people can hook into it? And where are we at with the ERU fees to come to the board to approve the fees and everything for this water system? So we can start collecting money and have the water system pay for it.
Yeah, I can continue with what I have.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think going down the order, so for system startup and for testing of the system, we cannot do the week-long demonstration that's required by Casella, which is, the pump station being the largest organ in that, that working body, until we have these data people come in and show that their portion works. So if we get them in a week and a half, then in order for them to chlorinate the system, they don't need to have the SCADA go ahead and function as it, they can run it in hand. So if they were to get the work done in a week and a half, 2 weeks, chlorination could go ahead and proceed the following week. And then from there, I don't know what sort of paperwork or admin needs to be done between the chlorination and between setting up that week-long demonstration in order to do the handoff, because I do know Casella is responsible for dealing with any of our contractors to be there for the demonstration, whether that's Hayes Pumps, LCS who does the SCADA work, any other contractor that is an electrical contractor as well. So I don't know what the lead time is in between that, but that right there, just some of the stuff I said, puts us at a month minimum of how long it'll take for us to at least do the demonstration. And then again, we don't know what the admin time is going to be in between for any sort of paperwork or what the state needs to come in and do in order to have it be completely ours.
Okay.
So that's what I have for that, and maybe some other questions towards that may be answered by what I have further. So, just to get this out of the way, going in chronological order, contracts 5 through 6A, this doesn't largely affect the rates and everything, but a small blurb. Contracts 5 through 6A, we have a couple easements that are outstanding that we're looking to get in order to get everything together to put the contract out to bid. So I've been working with one of them closely with their lawyers, getting, with the terminology and understanding to figure out what needs to be done in order to get the easement done. And then the other easement is, and stop me, am I able to speak about individual easements in property?
go ahead.
Is that why?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so 2375 Killington Road is, I believe people up here on the mountain refer to it as the old TV station. Does that sound right?
Correct.
So they're one of the ones where we have a pressure reducing vault that needs to go in on their property. And I was in talks actually with the engineer group who, I believe it recently changed hands the property. And, we answered some questions for them a couple of months ago about, what is it, the nuances of hooking up, and we reaffirmed to them that we need to get an easement going. I made contact with them a couple weeks ago and said we need to pick this conversation back up. We need to figure out what we need to do to move forward with these easements. One of the holdups is that we were using an old easement document. I wouldn't call it, I wouldn't say it's holding up the whole operation, but, going forward as cleanly as possible, we just need to get a updated easement document from, I believe, our lawyer, Jeremy Farkas.
So the DRB is taking care of that, just so you know, last Thursday.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, because Killington Homes, or Killington House, whatever, LLC, is the old KTV station going into 21 units. And the DRB gave them their site plan approval. And Jeremy Farkas did draw up the other day, I think Thursday morning, to Jessica Ralston, because she spoke, because she's the chair of the DRB. And in that document, one of the conditions is that the town has the right to put that water infrastructure on the property. So we took it on that 2375. We have.
I'm sorry, Jim, I want to make sure I'm understanding. One of the conditions we're granting them to move forward with what they need is by them granting us.
They needed a site plan approval.
So
we had the DRB had legal, we stayed out of it, we had legal, Jeremy Farkas, draw up a document into the site plan condition that the town has an easement for the sidewalk and also for this PRV, pressure reducing valve, PRV. But he didn't even get to that, he didn't even bring it down to that simple. He said, for a water system and the sidewalk. So that is taken care of.
Yeah, so we,
okay?
it was just included in the permitting requirements.
All right, so that just got, well, I got it on my desk. That was just sent out to them on Friday morning of last week.
And then you'll have your.
So I will give you a copy on your desk tomorrow. But Jeremy Farkas is totally aware of it, but it really just happened.
Then I guess.
Now, they have 30 days or
Right.
45 days to say they don't like a condition, okay? But I don't think they're gonna do that.
Or for a neighbor, for that matter.
You can't drink the water there, so.
Yeah, no, so anyway, so that's that, so that one's out of the way.
Okay, good to know.
All right.
High five.
Yeah, we'll take that, guys, and anyone we can get.
Yeah.
So, water rates going forward. So, last month, I met with our commission. We're lucky we're able to boast 4 out of 5 members now. We're building our strength as slow as possible, but people that are committed, and I appreciate them. And I presented them a couple of different rate structures. And what we're trying to get at is, from my studies and my experience and trying to make sure we're not getting anything, what I like to call a rate shock, is we're trying to figure out the way to best bill everyone in a fair and equitable way, whereas people are not getting charged anything more than they should be representative of what they're using in the system. So one of the ways that I've been attempting to do that is contract 4 which out of contracts 4, 5 through 6A, and 7, which are the 3 blocks of development for what we have built out. Contract 4 represents around, and we're going to use the term ERU, equivalent residential unit, which they represent around 509 of those equivalent residential units out of the 710, which is a number devised by a planning figure of, I believe, 450 gallons per day, divided by the 330,000 value, which was a number derived from PER from the frame group, which anticipates the amount of water that would be needed by the people who can hook up to the system. So using that, I went ahead and broke down different valuations of how we can make it so each, trying to think of the best way to explain it without, maybe I should drop my PowerPoint, maybe we'll do that next time. How we make sure that everyone is paying, if someone has, let's say it's $40, dollars per ERU, and they have a single family unit, they should be paying that, opposed to, the same thing, if someone has a 24 unit condo complex, they should be paying that per ERU. But what we want to make sure we're doing is, if we were to bill everyone fairly for their use of the system, then it also wouldn't be fair to be billing anyone in contracts. We shouldn't be billing contract 4 users a higher value to stay afloat with O&M cost, because they shouldn't be punished by hooking up to the system early, and they should not be forced to pay more. So if we do go ahead and have them pay their fair share of whatever their direct divisions of the ERUs by the PER, then you're finding that there were some, I guess we would call it, well, not shortfalls, but a very close line for the O&M to what revenue would be. So what we've done is we're trying to figure out different, either moderate, aggressive, or passive ways that we can go ahead and scale up or down what the cost of water may be. Because if we go ahead and we bill everyone flat, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if we bill everyone flat at their actual, what is it, 1-to-1, charge is, if they're to pay their fair share of the system, it would be below what our O&M projection is. So my O&M budget is what I want to preface. Something that I got passed by the Water Commission a couple months ago was a projected first-year budget. Again, I got it as close as to what I think it can be, but I don't have any historical data to back up against what I think the actual O&M is going to be of the system. There's going to be learning curves, there's going to be, some things may cost more than others, I don't have a year's budget to work from the past. So I went ahead and did my research as much as what I think.
What is that dollar amount?
I believe it's 229,000.
For the year?
Yes.
What's included in the 229,000?
It's, my salary, benefits.
You just say salary, benefits.
Salary, benefits, what is it?
Electricity.
Electricity, thank you, John. Utilities involved, so chemicals, parts, tools, everything like that. I have it laid out somewhere if I do it.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And so I assume you took that number and added a percentage to it to cover any variation in your projected cost versus your actual cost? So a factor of 10%, 15%, something that will give you a buffer for, again, understanding that you don't have a historical reference?
No, I would not say that.
I would maybe consider that, to be honest with you, only because you have no historical reference. So without that, you're operating blind, and so you are literally swimming upstream, right? Like, you just don't know. You can calculate the factors, you can talk to the pump manufacturers and ask them how many kilowatts it uses per operating hour or whatever the factors are. But at the end of the day, your raw number isn't going to be exact. And so you need to be, in my opinion, you need to have a factor in there that's going to cover what you don't know is what you don't know.
Right, and as you're speaking, John, I think I'm better understanding, I maybe didn't get it the right way around. I don't know how exactly I have it marked in there, but I do have what I call like a 5% buffer,
Yep,
like in my budget. So in a way, I did do that.
Yep.
Maybe not as analytical or, the way that you've provided it, but in my brain, I did recognize that there needs to be some sort of bubble
right.
attached to what I did, but there.
Well, and the other side of it too, I would think as well, Brian, is that, and I know people who are gonna hook into the system aren't gonna appreciate this when I say this, but I think it's better over time is that even if you have if you have 5% in there, you may be better off at 10% because that will create more of a buffer, so when things start to change, you're not maybe automatically coming back with a rate increase like first year because you have enough of an operating buffer in there to prevent that from happening.
Right.
My only input is gonna be on, right, at this point, what I've heard, and Bill, you were on the sewer district for a while. No, I thought you were.
That's Mary.
I was Mary, okay. I knew one of yous were. Okay, that if there's 700 and something ERUs total, and at the first year, only 300 are used, well, the bill for that year is for the 300. It's not penalizing them. It's their system. And as units come on, it will lower the price, okay? Every year, you're gonna have a different budget. So if it's $300,000, let's round it off to $300,000, and there's 300 units or whatever on there, ERUs, it's $1,000 an ERU. We can't say like, well, we don't want to penalize you because when the line goes down further in 2 or 3 years, there's going to be more. Well, no, that year, the budget is $300,000, and that year, the budget needs to be covered by those on the water system.
So one of the ways because I do agree with that opinion as well, but one of the ways that we've also tried to supplement that and try to keep the same, I guess, mantra that I had in the beginning to try to keep it as fair as possible is there are one-time connection fees that are to be billed to properties as they hook up, connection fees, allocation fees, and application fees. And I have run some models and some variables of how those can supplement any gaps in those first years, because I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, the first couple of years are going to be the toughest as we, work the system and work the budget against the variable number of people who connect to the system. So that's one way. I mean, it's the best way that I've seen so far. So that's just another way that I've presented multiple different iterations of the budget to my commission. What I've done as staff, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is my first time doing something like this, is I've taken all the information that I've gotten passed down from myself, Dufresne, and Adam, my predecessor, and everything that I've researched from what I know, brought it to them, and then giving them direction on what I think is the best motion. So any opinion that you guys have also helps me, and any minds make.
I think we're gonna have to verify with the TIF, because when Burlington did their TIF, and they built, not Burlington, St. Albans did their TIF, and they built a parking garage, okay? The state auditor came back at them because they started charging for parking, so that fee should have came back in to lower the amount of money that they take out. So in the TIF area, like Cascade and the Mountain Inn and any of those condos there, they're in the TIF district, okay? So if we're gonna charge them a fee for a hookup, that may penalize us against the TIF. So we just gotta check that out. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
when do we think people will be hooking into the system? And how many will be?
As we stand at the end of August, I would hope to have people prepared to hook up by the beginning of October.
How many?
Wow.
Again, we're coming into like a chicken and the egg situation where people are hesitant to even speak to me on hooking up to the system until rates are provided. So I have been able to deduce what I call as a best estimate, fair guess, for some people who I know have water issues, as well as people who have verbalized to me, that they think connecting is a good idea as long as we can, get the numbers right. And I think our rates, from what I have, and I can present them to, people later, some of the models that I've had, and maybe when we have more commission speak. I mean, I think the rates are gonna be extremely fair, especially with a lot of people who might be paying a crap ton for water, maybe in, other homes they have. But I'm confident out of the 26 users, I would estimate around, I'd say 15, or let's say 16, 17. And then ERU's sake, I think I had that broken down into, out of 509 available in contract for, I would hope to see around 350 minimum ERUs, and that has to be a larger math breakdown as I would, provide.
So just remember, Brian, which I'm sure you do, so I'm just talking it out, is that when you reference what people are paying elsewhere, meaning at maybe their primary residence in an urban area or something, they're paying you typically water in, water out rate. So, so I don't live in one of those areas, and I try not to, but my point is, I don't know if those bills are broken into two separate charges, a water in charge and, a septic out charge, or if it's just a water in, water out volumes calculation, but.
This is just, this is.
Well, what I'm saying is, if he's using what they're paying maybe for two things, not just for water.
He's trying to come up with a figure that says there's X amount of ERUs and the
Oh,
dollar.
I agree.
There's no water in, water out.
Well, no.
I understand.
No, but what he's talking about is, what he referenced is what people are paying elsewhere. What I'm saying, what people are paying elsewhere may not actually be reflective of what he's gonna be providing.
And I'm sorry, I think we're going way, way, way above where we're supposed to go on this here or
Yeah,
whatever.
okay.
My question is, if it's $200-something thousand, okay, which months ago we were told it was about a $100,000 budget, okay? There was a $100,000 number, or $100-something thousand number that was thrown out there. So now if it's closing to $300,000, I'd have to go back. I'm just telling you, a number that's, let me rephrase it. A number that sticks in my head was in the $100,000, $100 to $150,000 range. I may be wrong, but we're at $300,000, and it's August 23rd, I believe. And what I'm trying to find out is that there might be 26 people hooking in for a total of 300 units or something like that, okay? Where are they at with their engineering? Where are they at with their permit from the state of Vermont, if they need it from Act 250? Where are they at with their permit from the wastewater potable water division? Because they have to have a permit from those folks in order to hook into the water line, just like they need one to hook into the sewer line.
Right.
Where are they at?
I have it written out. So
What's that?
Again, don't want to sound like I'm, beating a dead horse, but in getting the rate set, and I hopefully have a meeting set later this week for my commission to meet. As soon as, we've had a few people reach out, with engineering already, because they're hooking up to the system regardless. But with the rates being held back, that has made it so a lot of people have not started this process of the engineering. So on the tone of the comprehensive permit, and this is what we're talking about the water wastewater permit. Coming from before when I started, there has been the direction from the state to have us administer what we call a comprehensive water permit, water wastewater permit. And they have been guiding us or telling us to follow the model of Berlin, Vermont. Berlin, Vermont functioned in a way differently than we did that does not allow us to go ahead and adopt the way they did it, which again has been done maybe once or twice in the state of Vermont, as cleanly as we need to. Because Berlin had a situation where they did a similar phased development of the system, but they went ahead and they said, we're going to hire Otter Valley Engineering, and Otter Valley Engineering is going to do all of the connection and all of the design work for anyone hooking up to the water system. So we've been directed to do the comprehensive permit, but I just believe before I started, we have allowed individual customers to retain any engineer that they would like. So as we go ahead and try to figure out what exactly the state wants from us, and it's a battle, because it seems like the person who had directed us to do the comprehensive permit has since left the state, and we're working with new state construction engineers, is we're trying to figure out how to continue doing the comprehensive permit because the state recognizes we're gonna have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of permits come in. So Megan Young from the state of Vermont, we've been working with her, and she has given us approval from her higher-ups in order to move forward with getting funding for, engineer work for the design of the system, as well as get money granted towards us to decommission wells for users. So I don't know what the timeline is for that. She wants a proposal we've been speaking as of the last week, it's been in the works for a while. She wants a proposal as of September 4th. So that in itself is going to impact any sort of construction and design work for individual people to hook up, because we don't know what the timeline is going to be. I mean, we definitely want to go ahead and work with Megan Young. That's the issue here. I mean, the best possible scenario that is going to entice people to hook up to the system is to have anything paid for them. I think we can agree on that. So, this was impressed upon me by Megan at one of these meetings or visits a while ago, that this is something that she thinks we can do to make the system better. So as we wait to figure out what the timeline is, that is going to go hand in hand with timelines for if people want to go ahead and wait to hire their own engineer and be ready as soon as water is able to connect, or if it's the people who are going to want to wait until the engineering service and the state grant works till they can get someone themselves. So that is creating an element of unknown that we're working towards every day to clear up.
So what I'm hearing is that there's an avenue of unknown. We're waiting for pricing to come around. It has to get approved by this board, the rates, okay? So please just let us know when you have a rate, because then we're gonna have to put it on an agenda. I personally
have a plan. I don't want to sound like it's, like I'm just saying that. As soon as the things that I need to go in motion, I have a plan that moves forward with getting stuff put on the agenda and subsequently.
I don't think the town is going to want, to be honest with you, because then there's Act 250, which the Act 250 permit got in on the water line, and the Act 250 permit, everybody's going to have to go individually and see if they need to have a Act 250 permit or not. So that could be a while out.
From my understanding, that was a jurisdictional opinion, if that's the term I used. Is that something that they need to apply to Act 250 to see if it's going to trigger review? Or is that something that is only done if
the document that came back for this water system, the wording that we gave into, okay, is that they may need an Act 250 permit. Well, when somebody's,
maybe not, right?
Maybe not, okay, almost, maybe not. But,
Sure.
So we have to figure out what that is.
If that is if there is a pipeline, because again, I don't understand Act 250, that's not my wheelhouse. Is there a pipeline where no matter what, they have to basically go under this possible review? Or are they selected at random to see if they apply for whatever these Act 250 limitations or permitting that would cost?
We're the select board, you're the water operator. I'm sorry, but we got to figure that, we have to figure that out.
I gotcha.
But I'm also getting at is that there's a lot of, and I don't think we want, there are condominiums and stuff, they're not going to be digging up their grounds in October or November.
I was just going to ask about
So,
seasonality.
I mean, we're going to need to get the pricing, and we're going to have to go from there. I mean, the town's not going to want to have roads ripped up in October, November. We could start getting snow here in October, November.
Hopefully.
People are going to start shutting down excavating, could be November, December, depending on a frost
Spring of
line, whatever.
27.
And so I'm just trying to, I guess we'll wait for your committee that's only been together for about 2 months now with the proper amount of people.
Yeah, with at least
Yeah.
a version of them, 4 or 5. Yeah.
Right, and 2 of them are brand new.
Yeah, and Steve's great, thanks for sending.
So,
I had 2 questions real quick.
So we're just going to wait, but John has 2 questions.
So Brian, and they don't have to be long-winded questions. One is the SCADA system, I assume you're going to have remote access to be able to monitor that?
Yep.
Okay, and then I have been getting a lot of questions about PSI levels. So do you have through all the engineering, if that's even possible to answer the question, do you have a sense of what the intended PSI level will be throughout the system, like, especially like to the end of the system?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a spreadsheet that looked like something at the time of Abby Sherman that was delivered by us by Dufresne. For every single person who would be getting a stub, people within 200 feet of the water line, they have static PSI. I have measures for each individual hookup. If you were to ask me what it would be at the end of the system at contract 4, or end of the system at, the end of the system, which is contract 7, I don't have that.
Okay. I'll stop by, because I don't want to get it, I wasn't sure if there was a number you just knew of, but I will stop by and ask you a more specific question, because I've had a couple people ask me.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say that the water system that is being built, we promised that there would be fire protection service pressure for every single place that hooks in. And I know one thing, because I know Emmett from the Summit. Okay, let me finish. I know Emmett from the Summit, he's been given a number that's lower, and we're telling him that he needs to put some kind of pressure increase valve or a pump to get on his. And all I'm gonna say is that we should be having a conversation with Megan Young, because Emmett is one of the highest PFAS systems in the town of Killington.
Absolutely.
And the state wants him off, so we should be putting in that pump, but we can talk about that at another later date. We should not be telling the individual that, and I don't know if that is being saying, there's rumors in town, there's a lot of rumors in town, okay? But we're building a system that if it reduces down at one spot, and it's enough to hit, let's say, my building, the lodge, because it's not as high as the Summit, but the Summit needs to get hooked up, and anybody else along the Killington Road needs to get hooked up. And we promised them that we would be putting in, so it would have the pressure
To run a suppression
to
system.
run a suppression system
Yeah.
when and if needed, that's all.
Okay.
Agreed, yeah, Emmett is an outlier for sure.
Yeah.
And, whatever we can do I want everyone to hook up. You guys don't believe it, but I want anyone who can to.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
And
Of course you do.
I wasn't gonna hit on that, but when John was talking, I know that's one, but we need to put the pump in to make it so it's high enough pressure for him to, because it's silly, we're putting a pressure reducing valve in for the people closer to the road, so they don't get their plumbing system blown out, but then we need a pump to get somebody further away, 500 or 600 feet away or further, at an elevation, that, he's one of the reasons why we got this on contracts 5 through 7, it's $11.2 million, and 5 and 6 is from Ravine to Anthony Way, and it's a total of $11.2 million, and we're getting at least $9 million in subsidies. So if we gotta put a pump in somewhere to get the pressure up, we have to put a pump in to get something up, because the people from contracts 5 through 7, the bond is only gonna be $2,130,000 at this time. For a $42 million water system, for us to have a total of $15,500,000, it's gonna be a pretty fair price for even the bond on there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think as long as we develop some sort of system for people who are outside what is like the 200 feet, which we determine is a reasonable range, figure out a way to have them bear the fruits of what we have.
Right.
Not just, individual people. I think that's great.
Okay.
I think we could.
So I guess, as we're talking, I just developed one last question. So are those reducing valves adjustable so that you can?
They essentially act.
So my point is, as you have more people coming onto the system, then you may want to open more flow.
You absolutely could. I mean, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that, you're not just opening a PRV vault for someone who's further down the way, who's not going to feel, who's not feeling the highs and lows.
No.
Overpressurizing other people close to it. So it's just due diligence, but we can absolutely look at that.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions?
Great, that's the majority of what I have, guys. Any other questions?
No, we're good, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll wait for your group to get together and get us some pricing. So,
Yeah, absolutely, we'll work diligently.
thanks a lot.
Thanks, Brian.
Separate bank accounts, $100 each. Take from, I guess the question is where are we gonna get the $100 from? There's
Well, there's
four
five of
accounts.
us. There's five of us, so.
Yeah. I already got $8,375 in protecting myself for ethics complaints.
All right, I'll pick up your part then.
No,
okay?
there's a special projects fund that the planning commission is. We will go to them and ask them to allow the $400 to come out of the special project fund, okay?
So good.
So we have it, okay?
Makes sense.
So, all right. Green Mountain National Golf Course equipment. This is that lawnmower.
Sidewinder.
Sidewinder lawnmower. It's like a 6-wheel drive, whatever, that can do whatever grades and everything. If you go through the paperwork, Justin Stetson showed us that there is a golf cart, whatever, coming off in November of this year. That's some $2,200 that we're paying in a lease. We're buying that for $1, and it's gonna be able to last like another 5 or 6 years for it. So $2,200 is coming off, and they're asking us to add this Sidewinder on for some $1,100, I believe. Rob?
That number seems right, I just don't see it listed here. Maybe I'm missing it.
Yeah, cost is $1,115 for 60 months.
Oh, it's in the
On
note,
face sheet.
okay. I
It's
was
on the face sheet.
Yeah, 1115.
Right, and then
For
there's
60 months.
And there's $2,200 or whatever being released from.
Yep.
From it. So, so we could have a conversation. Can I get a motion to approve the Green Mountain National Golf Course to purchase this Sidewinder lawnmower?
So moved.
Second.
Any conversation?
As long as they set it up on an ACH payment, I'm happy.
Other than
Gotta
that-
start somewhere. Gotta start somewhere.
Other than that, are there any other questions? It works with inside their budget. They show you that how the $2,200 is going away in November, and it's $1,100, and they will be to us for more equipment, but that's the way, we're gonna have to look at this. Vito, any questions?
No.
Celia?
No,
Bill?
works for me.
Other than ACH?
Just
I
one
don't have
electronic
any-
payment set up.
All those in favor of letting the golf course go ahead and purchase the Sidewinder, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any more citizens' input? George first, name.
George Brand. So what I heard earlier in the meeting was $2 million of FEMA payments that we will be getting,
We should be getting,
and
in the next
we
3 to
delay
4
ourselves
months.
by not doing paperwork, doing this?
It's a mixture of, there's $1,050,000 that you remember with the striping that was done on April 29th,
East Mountain Road.
East Mountain Road.
It was a lot more money than we believed.
So it was $1,050,000 or whatever for that, but there's about another million that's outstanding from not closing out stuff. I don't want to get into it. I really don't. It's
All right.
it's about $2 million worth of funds,
Could that
okay?
be higher or lower, or
It could be higher,
Slightly higher.
slightly higher?
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to address, the fire department thing, if people are 24/7 here, they could work around the meetings here. I mean, this is why this building's here.
We'll work that out amongst us, okay? Name?
Roger Rivera. I believe that what Steve was brought up when he asked that we find another place, we were in some extremely unnecessarily and painfully long budget meetings that I don't think will ever occur again, hopefully not, because it was just ridiculous, quite honestly, for a failed budget to have taken 4 months. So I think that's what created one of those issues those evenings, but I am noticing that this clubhouse, as I call it, is accessible by anybody who seems to be part of the club. And when we're in a public meeting, perhaps those people should be using the door instead of accessing other parts of the building, which they are not here for at this time. And I noticed that quite a bit in my presence here. So that might be another way to alleviate some of those noise complaints. As well as we should just think about some soundproofing to this room, as well as some of the offices, and maybe some noise canceling headphones for people trying to sleep. Pretty simple process.
Thank you, Roger.
Oh, the last thing is, on the separate bank accounts, are we getting one for the education fund?
We should.
Hopefully we are, thank you.
From the audience, Patrick Cushing, you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I just had a question on the loans and the repayments. When you said the $8.4 million loan, that was one of the ones that was repaid on the 3rd. I think it was up to repaid for about 5-point-something million. Was the rest of that refinanced? Is that the 2.5 you referred to, or was it just ended?
It was ended because we couldn't, the note was already, the note was due August 5th.
Was there anything to account for the remaining, like, 2.5 million that was?
I explained that earlier, if you were listening, Patrick, that we.
That's what I'm asking for clarification about.
Well, for clarifications, we closed out the 8.4 GAN. We got.
Nothing was refinanced.
Patrick, how can we refinance something when we owed them still $1.3 million? The loan was already closed out, okay? It was due August 5th. We didn't pay the loan off until August 13th, okay?
Okay.
We were lucky enough, thank you, we were lucky enough that the bank would work with this group to give us the time to pay it back. And I did say that then we had to go for number one to get the $3.4 million tax anticipation note. And yes, it's a tax anticipation note. So we have that coming in on September 2nd, okay? And then I said, after that, we would get the real numbers from Dufresne's for what we need for contract 4, and we will go back and we will get another GAN note for the balance of that.
Okay, so that's where you're accounting for. Okay, thank you. That's all I want to know, is making sure that that last part was still being tracked. So, no, thank you. You guys are doing great.
Thank you. Anybody else online have a question? Not seeing any. Steve, you got your hand up.
Yeah.
Name so people.
Steve Feiner, and I came in earlier and said about, and you said there would be fire department discussion, and I didn't get to what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The first thing is, I'd like to know when a search will be done for a fire chief. I'm just going to read these down, and if you want to talk about it individually, fine. Staffing for 2 per shift. The note that there is an ISO insured services offices wants to come and do an inspection in January or February. Last one was done in 2014. And the town at that point went to what's called a 4/8B, which is now called a 4/4Y. We were the first in the state of Vermont to get that certification. Long and short, it says we can supply water for X number of hours, X gallons a minute. And we didn't physically do the test, but we documented we could do it. We've done our hose testing already. We've done our pump testing already. Our ladder testing is coming up. Pre-planned surveys coming up. The dry hydrants, we've been approved for 1 hydrant as of now. Rob signed the landowner agreement part of it. We're looking at another one to go in. We need
What
to
is the
do.
cost of a dry hydrant? The cost?
Yeah, it's a 25% match. However, the match can be met in kind, which can be product or services, which lowers that percentage
What's
down.
the cost of the?
It's like our side would be, if we did nothing, would be $1,500.
What is the total cost of?
About 6,000.
And how many are we putting in?
We have one that we have a grant for. We're looking at a second one this year, and there'll be others in future years.
So I just want to straighten, Rob, grants are supposed to
Go to the board?
go to the board.
Okay, my bad.
So we know where we can put money from. Where are we going to get this money from? I don't know. Just in the future?
Yeah, prior fire chief brought it and got grant approval.
Not from the board. Just telling you, not from the board. Bill, did you ever see
I'm
it?
not, I'm moving on.
Okay.
September, October is our time for servicing all our vehicles. That's inspections, oil changes, that type of thing. The reason I bring all these things up is where do we stand for money to do these things?
We get a loan on September 2nd for $3.4 million, and where is it in your budget?
I might say it slower again.
We get a loan for $3.4 million for our tax anticipation note.
Okay?
Where is it in your budget?
It's in line items.
Okay,
Perfect.
so we're good.
Okay? Which brings me to the other question of how much, you once mentioned that we could spend $500 a week.
No,
Oh,
What was the 500?
I said we would put $500 while we were going through this cash problem into petty cash, okay?
Okay.
And I said for the rec department, and I asked if the fire department and the police department wanted it, okay, also. And I think it was decided, Bill, that it would be just $500 and people could go from there. I saw some email that came across that you wanted to up it to $4,000.
I said no.
As of September 2nd, we're going to have funds put in.
Okay, that,
It doesn't give you carte blanche to just spend every single dollar in there because we still have a cash flow issue, all right?
So my question is if I give Rob a list of what's coming up, so he knows, and he can then say, can this move a month or a week? And we can do that. Is that okay?
It's not the board, he's the
To
manager.
me, it has to be, because otherwise, if you don't have line of sight as to what needs to be done and when, it's kind of hard to just keep saying, spend. Yeah,
I'm not saying spend. I'm saying,
these are needed things that need to be done.
right.
Right,
And I can say to you, this is what needs to be done. Here's the order we're looking at.
right.
A good example is, I know there are some things we need to do, but we're not going to do them until March or April,
Perfect.
okay? There are things that need to be done
Now.
now.
I
Talk
would,
with the manager.
I would probably also, if it were me, I would include any terms that we have with these folks so that we know what the payment cycle is. So in other words, we're on a 30-day term with them. The product's going to be delivered on October 15th, so it means it's not due to November 15th, and it allows for better cash flow management. So if
Okay.
you can get that information, in my opinion, I would include that to the interim town manager.
The town at this point is running like a business that needs to make sure that it has the funds, and not everybody can just come in and say, I need. We understand that every department needs, but as Monica will tell you, I think as of today was 3.7 million.
Yep, thank you.
But nobody can tell us how much of that is collected from the education fund, which which probably is the most of it, okay? So when we get that 3.4 in, we'll be in better shape, which today is August 23rd, so September 2nd. 24th, we'll be in a better shape, but we gotta run this like a business, and there's money moving around, and, we got Brian telling us there's a $1.7 million note due, a bill due for a water system that means a lot to the fire department. So we gotta pay that, but we're waiting for money to come in from SRF and from Catalyst, a grant, to take care of this stuff. As Patrick has said, like, did you get the loan, whatever, like, how can we get the loan? Like, you guys go, I mean, the next time this happens, hopefully it doesn't.
It's not gonna happen.
You go to the bank and you say, hey, listen, I owe you 6.3 on Monday, and I only have $5 million I can pay you, and give me 2 weeks to 30 days to pay you the other $1.3 million. But by the way, we need $3.4 million in September. I don't know many people that will do that, and I've done it for this town 2 times. I did it when Michael Ramsey was here, and I had to call up Mascoma Bank and ask for a 30-day extension on that $8 million loan. So
we're just managing our
we're
cash flow.
trying to tell people, we understand, we like you going to him, but it may not be approved right away. We have to, tomorrow, that 3.7 million, maybe $1 million. Probably not, Monica, but I'm just saying. Hey, listen, if we pay, all of a sudden we pay that 1.7 to SUR, it's 2 million, you take 1.7 away from, and then Casella wants like $600,000, but we may have to tell these people that they're a day or two over their 30 days.
I think the easiest way to say it, Jim, is we're still in a cash flow crunch.
Yeah.
We asked the department managers to
Talk to the manager.
be tight with their budgets. We'd love them to be able to spend their line items. We hope we can do that, but until we really nail down the overall cash flow, talk to Rob.
Right.
And then Rob.
Because what I have to do is balance
You got to balance.
what's the most critical things
Right,
that need to
exactly.
be paid.
Who,
Right.
yeah, if you have 10 people wanting to spend money, you rank order. Who,
Well, I'll give you a great
Yeah.
example. So Chad said to me, you're gonna need some tires.
Yeah.
All right? I can hold off on certain trucks until October or early November. I said, that's prudent. I mean, that's the way, I mean, that's what you would do in your household,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yep.
And
Right.
I just.
Right, but you wanna just give it to me in a longer time frame that takes us out to next spring.
I don't think I can go that far.
Oh, I heard you say March or something, but,
I know there are certain items that will do that.
Okay.
Okay?
Right now, just tell the town manager what is necessary immediately,
Okay.
and then he'll decide yes or no.
With that said, 2 things. One, John, in your reference to the cost to install the electric for the compressor.
Yep.
We received a bid,
Yep.
and I would have fallen out of my chair if I wasn't holding on.
Okay.
I've since received from another company, and I have 3 more coming,
Okay, that's good.
1/3 of the cost of the first one.
But what's the first one?
What?
What's the first one? I
Like
hate when someone
45
says it's a third. It's 20% off.
It was $4,500,
Okay.
which was more than the cost of the machine.
yeah, because what was that, 35 or 38?
It's like 38, 39.
That's what I thought.
I'm like,
No, that's what I was worried about.
I don't need gold plated, so
Right,
we are getting,
perfect.
and that's where that's going.
But that would have been a perfect example in the real business world, that, hey, I own a company, and I need a generator, and I know I'm on a cash flow problem, but let me go spend $3,800 of our much-needed money now, and it may not be installed for 2 months, because I gotta go get bids out, that's gonna cost me another $2,000 or $3,000. It would have been a perfect, I mean, to
Yeah.
me, that's, but we're all like
And that-
coming in for
my-
money.
My last comment, and I'll make it as a comment,
Okay,
is when we were looking at purchasing the post office, when I say we, the town,
yeah.
there was statements made that there would be a room large enough to hold meetings. And I'm going to just make that statement.
Okay, and great, and then I can come back and make a statement that when this building was
Jim-
built, this is, no, you don't stop the chair, please. This, you keep on pushing and pushing, and it's annoying at times. This is a public community room, And you can go out and call me an ass and a bully in the newspaper, Steve, it's fine. But this was voted as a community room. And just because we say we're gonna buy another building and we can turn it into something else, doesn't take it away that you, the administrator of the fire department, can say to people, we're gonna kick the select board out. Well,
No,
you're not.
I did not say that.
Okay, well,
You said you thought they should move. I did not.
thank you.
Thank you.
I think we should put a job description together and follow up for a fire chief.
Yes.
As we did the first time with all the qualifications that we were looking for the first time. So we don't get into maybe not having firemen, not even having a level 1 fire,
Okay.
and go from there. So you should be able to call up the Mountain Times and see what ad was put out, or go through files of seeing what it was.
We probably have it with Linda.
Probably somewhere that we have.
Yeah.
And I think we should put that out for now. At the same time, because you're the manager, so it's not us doing the hiring, you have the right to do it, but I think you need a little guidance right now because of all the other stuff, and you're doing a great job getting loans to get us through this cash flow thing, but now that we know we got money coming in.
Yeah, happy
And
days
there's a
are here
budget
again.
for a fire chief at $85,000.
Okay.
Let's get that together. I think also, since we tried doing for a public works director, but we're working through different things.
Right.
Maybe just for little giggles or whatever, put out the job description to see what we can get for a public works director, and maybe also for a finance director while we're working for the hybrid or whatever. But
Right.
that's you as the town manager, and you can put those things together, and you know what the budgeted number is. It is in the,
Yeah.
in the budget for those different departments, okay?
Okay, good.
And I think it will help. We're moving forward with certain people for things. There is we talked about Cedar, and you're gonna get some help. You're gonna get some help, okay?
It's getting tough, so.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get some help, all right? But we have to we just have to all work together, all right? And
Just one scheduling question. So 2 weeks out, I believe, is Labor Day, Monday.
We'll have to push.
So do we, well, it's the board's decision, but do you want to push it to Tuesday? Or do you want to push it off a whole week? I would prefer not to push it off.
the way we're going, so what's the date? September?
So that's gonna be what, the 7th?
September 7th.
How are people looking for the 8th, 9th, or 10th? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
I'm fine.
8,
The 8th is great.
1, 2,
It's fine.
3.
We don't need them, we already got 4.
And remember, we got a special, remember, Jim, there's still a
I'm gonna
special
remember
select
that.
board meeting.
I'm gonna
on
take advantage of that.
For next Monday.
For next Monday, there's a special select board meeting for a road project, not for anything. We're gonna listen to VHB talk about the Raise Grant Road, Anthony Way to the
Right,
lookout.
that's the 31st.
Yeah, as long as we're back from Montpelier.
You look-
Yeah, no, we've talked about that, but
No, no, that's
So
not.
the second Monday of the month is on 14th, and you guys always have a meeting on the second,
Yeah, it's the
right?
second month.
Oh,
the
yeah.
second.
Oh, yeah, because the 31st is, okay, yeah.
You're right.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
Thank
already
you,
on the
Monica.
calendar for the 14th.
Thank you, Monica.
So it's
That's
not,
great.
We're
it's
okay.
not the 7th, so it's gonna stick to the 14th.
Problem
14th to
solved.
28th.
Problem
vacation.
solved.
You're on
We solved the
vacation.
problem
We don't
tonight.
need you.
Look
We
at
got
that.
4.
wow, thanks, Monica.
Oh, so the 8th is canceled?
Yes, it's 14th and the
But it's
28th,
14th, and it's not the 1st and 3rd, it's the 2nd.
2nd and 4th.
Jim said you didn't need me that night, too. I was really excited. I was like,
I was joking.
I was like,
14th?
Yeah.
So at the next meeting
Yes.
is, well,
But
the
the-
next meeting is the
Is
31st.
next
for
Monday for the VHP road project.
Select board member concerns. Vito?
Nope.
Celia?
No.
Bill?
I think we've covered everything.
John?
So I just want to acknowledge the Town of Killington KSAR team. They were leaving today, as I understand it, to go provide mutual aid and support over in the Adirondacks in New York. Apparently, there's a elderly gentleman who suffers Alzheimer's, who folks over that way have been looking for almost a week, and our crew is going over there to supply them mutual aid and support. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that, you know, KSAR is not only helping people in our community, but also helping others, so.
And so is our fire department,
Oh,
because they have mutual aid also. that
Right,
they go out to all the
absolutely.
towns.
No, it wasn't about that. It was about the
No,
fact.
it was a very specific and.
Yeah, it had nothing, it was not, it was not intended, it was, it was 100%, no, it was 100% about the fact
Thank you to
that-
all our volunteers.
Yes.
And all our departments.
Yes.
For all the mutual
I
aid
just,
that they do.
again, it was only because
Yeah.
of, you know.
I just don't want to single out one group without acknowledging the others.
Yep, nope, that's perfectly
And
fine.
The fire department does, and also at times, our highway department has gone out and helped.
Yeah.
Towns or whatever. But for this instance, thank you to the KSAR group. That being said, we got one more executive session that's going to take about 10 minutes. So can I get a motion to go in executive session at 10:08? It will really only take 10 minutes.
So moved.
Okay.